Welcome back. Thank you for bearing with us. I managed to, behind the scenes there, what you didn't see was me screwing up basically everything there is to be screwed up. Like, I got the stream key wrong. I didn't plug my capture card in correctly. Like, basically, imagine a stream where everything that could go wrong goes wrong. Now, in all seriousness, we've got a lot to get through today, but I want to start by addressing the elephant in the room, which is that I have to confess, unfortunately, you were all right. And what I mean by you were all right is what I'm about to show you. Now, last night, I bumped into somebody at Euro Club who I think you were all familiar with. And now I admit, yes, we very clearly look like each other. Now, you may be wondering, who is the man laughing at my misfortune sat next to me? Well, we've been talking a lot about the model, and you may have seen him on stream a few weeks ago. I am joined by the one and only James Stevenson, certified stats man. How are you, James?
I'm good. I'm very, very good. And it's nice to see just how similar you do look to our Armenian friend.
It's, I keep getting, like, people came up to me in Euroclub last night and went like, Garg.
But that's just the funniest thing about what I really enjoy is that initially I went along with the joke thinking, oh, actually they don't really look like each other. Now I see that I'm fully like, if you committed a crime, he could get arrested. Oh, yes. Like it's like the face recognition would happen and it would just go immediately. It's ridiculous.
Now we have lots to get through today, but the first thing we want to start with is we are going to be doing jury show streams all week. Tonight, Wednesday night, Friday night. One of the highlights of those streams is going to be the audience poll. For those of you who don't know, there are volunteers on the ground asking people as they emerge from the venue, who was your favourite? And although that might not be the exact question, but I suspect our guest is going to correct me in a minute. I am joined today to prepare us for this by the man behind the audience poll, the one and only Ben Robertson from ESC Insight. Ben, welcome to the stream. How are you doing? And where are you?
Thank you very much. I can confirm that the weather here in Stockholm in May is glorious. For all of you very interested in Stockholm weather in May, I wonder why. It is true that the Eurovision audience poll is going to be returning tonight, so that we can find out a little bit what people think about the semi-finals. And I'd argue, actually, it's probably more important than ever for all of us trying to analyse the Eurovision Song Contest to work out what people who've seen the show live think when we ask them the question, what was your favourite tonight?
And so, obviously, there's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes logistically. We all see the result, and I believe we're going to see the result for tonight, probably midnight local time. Half past midnight local time.
Half past midnight, I'm expecting. It's not just that we'll reveal the result. We'll also make sure that we have a nice social media share graphic. And then we have 5 different websites that we're working together. ESC Insight's one of them, Eurovoice another one. And we will be all posting that graphic at the same time. So there's a few minutes logistics, maybe like 10 minutes from we have a result to we post the result. So I'd probably say half past midnight is our goal to publish tonight.
Yes. And so we will be showing that graphic on screen, on stream at the same time. So that's something very exciting to look forward to. I did this before with you at UMK, and on the ground, it's intense. There's a lot going on. What is it actually like to be on the ground, sort of accosting people as they leave, especially in countries where they're not the most sociable with strangers? I remember the first person I asked when people were coming out at UMK, I said, hey, who is your favourite? We're doing a poll. And the guy went, who is we? Who's asking? And I was like, so what's it actually like to do this on the ground?
It's incredibly fun, especially at the Eurovision Song Contest. If I compare to the UMK experience, I was there as well with you at UMK. A very interesting audience poll, because the audience poll did tell us that Windows 95 Man was the audience favourite to pass in our second. So it foretold the future there that we were not expecting before that poll, I don't think. But you get a full festival, and like so many people that have experienced Eurovision for the first time that come out really excited and want to know what it is, want to know all about it, and also because you do the Monday, Wednesday night, and there are the fan packages that people buy for those free shows, you see people come out of the same exit 3 nights in a row. You get a bit of a relationship with people, even though you're only there for, ideally 5 seconds just to go, what was your favorite tonight? They say a country, you put a check in the box and they move on, because as a team, we have in the past got over 3,000 people record votes, and we've not had a big Eurovision arena to do this from in the last few years. So it's a big undertaking. Thank you to the volunteers to make it possible, but by making it possible, we get the data that makes it so exciting. And no, we've done nowhere close to any country getting 0 points, for example, in any of these audience polls. So it's we get a good bit of data.
Yeah, and it's always really interesting to see with that data. The thing is, I do this. Now, as you all know, I never jump to conclusions. I always take a long time to consider what I say before I say it. I'm very reasonable. I'm not at all, hard-headed or excessive in the way I speak. Everyone in the chat knows this very well. But people misinterpret data. People... And we'll come to this with the model later, which of course we're going to talk about. What are you trying to tell us with this data? Because it's not, you can't just look at this and go, well, this is how the televote is going to finish or whatever.
No, not at all. It can be a very good indicator of public opinion. So the heavy landslide that we saw Keria score over Loreen in the audience poll 2 years ago showed us the level of support that you had for the act. And that was true not just from the local fans in the UK, but also from the international fans that were exiting. I guess one thing that we have on the ground that's slightly different from getting the raw image out there is that we can also feel the types of people, and not just what they're saying, but how they're saying it. Are they coming out cheering and going, Finland, Finland, he's the best? And I'll be like, okay, Finland 1 point, thank you. Or, I mean, if I flip that round the other way around, in the audience poll last year, Israel got a mid-table score. And understandably, a lot of the people who came to me and voted for Israel in the poll, they came up to me quite quiet. I'll vote for Israel. I did very good tonight. Now, the mannerism is very different as well. So, and you also have to, of course, take into consideration where people are coming from. So the Liverpool contest had a whole bunch of people over from Ireland. They had a very merry time at the jury rehearsal for semi-final 1. And Ireland qualified according to the audience poll semi-final 1, but those votes were Irish votes. So there's a lot of nuance you need, and it's not a perfect proxy. It's as good as any other proxy. I think it's been roughly 8 out of 10 qualifies on the audience poll. If I'm looking to interpret it, I'm looking to find maybe an example of something where it's not clicking with the public for a televote. The one that reminded me very much of this was in Liverpool, and it was Iru's song from Georgia.
Right.
Was a non-qualified the audience poll, and it was that was the like aha moment for me to be like, that's not working for public. And what's interesting, and especially more interesting this year, is that the journalists covering the Eurovision Song Contest, in a couple of hours, they're going to be in the arena to watch the first run through, but they have to be in the arena. So those of us outside the arena, or also those of us who want to see how things work on the TV screen, that's not going to come through until the evening at the very earliest. So the indications of what works and what doesn't work is going to be harder for us to judge at this very point in time. And this is the inspiration for doing the audience poll. I'm afraid I have to apologise. It's another Swedish invention impacting on the Eurovision Song Contest.
Boo!
Get the boo soundboard out.
Get it done now. Because at Melodifestivalen, and this has been going for years, like over a decade now in Melodifestivalen in terms of the tour. And it's been really interesting because until this year with the tour, you did the audience poll on the Friday night, but the songs weren't even available for streaming yet. So it was a really interesting indicator in the Swedish selection process. Obviously, you have 50 journalists in the room and they have their opinions, but actually it's when you get a few hundred people from the public who are not in the bubble, Melkus of the bubble as well, goodness me, then you actually get to see what works and doesn't work. And I do think the audience poll does the same. And it just adds to that, what I call a speculation storyline. That, like, for many people following the Eurovision Song Contest, the storyline of who qualifies and doesn't qualify, or who wins and doesn't win, is one of the big exciting stories of this week. It's not just the background for all the artists, it is the contest itself. So this paints a bit of that story and a bit of the anticipation.
Yeah, it's really exciting. I think there's a couple of things people are pointing out in chat. One person says, Dizzy last year must have looked horrible in the arena. There's an element of this too. If a performance is made for television and doesn't really come across in the arena in the same way, you have this kind. So there's a lot of different factors that people need to sort of filter the result through and sort of consider, okay, Switzerland's going to do better because there's going to be loads of Swiss people here. Germany, the second highest ticket sales this year after Switzerland was Germany.
Expect that to be very hard.
So that might potentially, create an increase in vote for Germany in the final. These kinds of effects are difficult to account for.
Very, very much so. So, I mean, one of the things for the audience poll, here's a top secret bit of information that we have here, because our teams that go out tonight around the arena, they have clipboards. And we learned from the very first time we're doing this, if we've got a clipboard and we're going to have 15, 16 songs plus the free qualifier, so an A4 piece of paper with 20 different boxes on it, if we make all those boxes the same size, we're going to run out of space for some of them, because and we, the people all on this, for example, I'll say two countries to be mean, but just to make the point, like Slovenia will not do as good in the audience poll compared to Sweden tonight.
Yeah,
that's a fair assumption. So on our piece of A4 paper, we've made the Sweden box bigger than the Slovenia box. If I'm wrong about that, then you know what, our teams can cross out things and make it work and it'll be fine. But otherwise, an A4 paper is not going to suffice, and we need a big scroll to take around outside the arena. People write their own crosses on or something. And one of the things I've factored in is not just ticket sales, but I've also taken into considerations the Swiss televote previously, because Switzerland is a country that does feel quite a lot of diaspora voting, and I would not. Anyway, I'm going to say something which I'm going to assume a lot of people on this stream might like, but I want to put an asterisk next to it. My expectation is that the story tonight is Albania might do very, very well in the audience poll.
Yes.
Yeah, I could absolutely
And my
see that.
expectation on that isn't based on what a lot of Eurovision fans think. It's based on the fact that there's a lot of Albanian points that go from Switzerland every year. Switzerland gives lots of points from Albania. And if I'm being really cynical and overthinking this, I have my ESC Insight t-shirt on, so I can overanalyze something. Albanians in Switzerland are more likely to have a lower income, are more likely to be buying tickets for semi-final and in rehearsals rather than for a grand final live show, for example. So you may have an even stronger Albanian audience in tonight than otherwise.
Well, it's actually a good point that often, in my experience, at jury shows and family shows, the audience is more representative of the local host country versus international fans who are more likely to go for live shows.
Because they've got the income. They've already flown in, so they can justify it. It's not so much
precisely. And so, I think back to Ukraine in 2017. I went to Thursday afternoon, Friday night and Saturday night. So I had a family show, a final jury show, and a grand final. At the family show, it was almost exclusively Ukrainians. There are a few Eurovision fans in there, but lots and lots of Ukrainians. Again, lots of families. Lots of people have brought their kids. The whole thing was a sea of Ukrainian flags. At the jury show, still quite a lot, but there was Eurofans starting to come in. Then that Saturday night, it was very, very different, a very different sort of demographic, because you had everyone who'd bought like OGay live show packages.
Yeah.
You had the fans who'd flown in at great expense, and so on, and they want to go to the grand final. So these are important things to factor in. It's interesting you mention Albania. And I do just want to quickly point out, someone said in chat that they want a press poll. There has been no press poll. The press have not seen anything yet. So any press poll you've seen is fake. Now, I think I do just want to quickly spend a couple of minutes, if you'll permit me, to take a more general look at where we see this contest going. And actually, I think Albania is an interesting frame to approach this from. How high can they go? Because on one hand, there's a lot of people full of hope. People in chat are full of hope. But obviously, there's a lot of unknowns here. What do you think they're going to end up doing?
You know what? Some people that know that I previously had the Bet Eurovision podcast, and we did a lot of analysis from a gambling point of view. I'm not doing that this year. I'm not following the song contest in that kind of way anywhere near as much. But what I will tell you is that I would be a lot less certain of the betting market this year than they are showing right now. And I think that's because we're missing a lot of data that we would have had at this point. I get questions all the time. How can you have betting markets in October? Well, people can still predict. People can expect a Swedish song to have more as a winning than a Georgian song. Sadly, the track record dictates how the odds start, and then they change throughout the season. That roller coaster is why it is so exciting. But at this point, there's so much that is unknown, especially I think on the jury side of the equation. Euro jury was a huge proxy for that. It's not been around this year. You have a year where in total the noise from streaming and social media is less, and I don't think it's very clear how those things are going to play out. There is uncertainty about the size of Ukrainian and Israeli televotes. And that will be dictated, I think, a lot by how the news is this week. If there was any big news stories that were developing around either of those two countries, I think that would dictate a lot of that. There is so much unknown. I mean, here's one unknown factor that, Gabe, I think you'll probably agree on this one. And the fact that the favourite is Sweden with a Swedish flag attached to it, there are going to be people out there who will not vote for the act, despite it being their favourite, because it's Sweden.
Max Verstappen effect.
Yes.
This is the Max Verstappen effect.
The dominant effect, exactly.
I don't know if... I think that's more than a fandom thing, but I don't know how big it is.
I do think at the same time, because it's so different. It's so different to what Sweden normally sends, that I actually think there could be some opposite effect as well, where people go, oh wow, it's so different from what Sweden usually do, which could bring other people in who might not ordinarily vote for it. I mean, I enjoy it more. I find it more refreshing because it's Sweden and because it's so far away from what we're used to.
I want to agree with you, but it's not about agreeing or disagreeing, it's about doubt. This year, there is a lot more doubt in lots of the storytelling. The bit they've showed of Austria's clip is not the bit that's going to dictate if it works or not. We can hit that bit. We're all comfortable with. It's going to be the switch up that's going to dictate if this works or not. So there's the key bits of information at this point are missing for me to have certainty. So, and I think the way that the odds are with two that are so far above the rest, I'm not saying they're wrong. I think those two should probably be the ones that are the market leaders, but the gap is too high. I do not have that certainty.
Yeah, no, I think as well, I think there's still, 4, 5, 6 that I think I could see going all the way. Well, listen, Ben, it has been an absolute pleasure. We will speak again later, closer to the time, and we'll stay in touch. I know James has to go to rehearsals before too long. So I want to take some time to speak to him about the model. But thank you so much for joining us with your insights. For those of you in chat who don't know, this is a bit like speaking to the Gandalf of Eurovision. Like,
oh yeah, Gandalf, Dumbledore, every magical wizard you could ever think of is Ben Robertson.
Yeah, it's either you. One of them's you're either Gandalf or Dumbledore, and the other one of those two is Ewan. So choose which one you'd prefer.
I'm like 36 years old. Come on now, boys.
Okay, a young handsome
version.
a young handsome.
There was
Gandalf.
that Jude Law version of Dumbledore.
Yeah, that's the one.
There
yeah.
we go.
You know, with the what's the thing having golden locks of hair. You know.
Yeah, it was a whole different thing.
If I can be very nerdy for you, if there's one thing to look out for today, this is my favourite day of the year. It's happened by accident, but today is Stats Day on ESC Insight. I believe we have 3 different stats articles about the Eurovision Song Contest. So go and check it out if you like some numbers. One of them's mine about if it's better to be in the first semi-final or the second semi-final in terms of changing jurors' opinion, and I have some numbers on it.
Interesting. Well, what I will say is I'm going to be live here all day. For those of you in chat watching right now, I'm going to check out all of those things later. That is on the menu for today. But for now, Ben, thank you so much. Take care,
Nice
and we
Ben.
will see you very soon.
Au revoir.
All right. Well, that is. I feel a little starstruck in some ways whenever I see the inimitable Ben Robertson.
It's almost daunting. He knows so much.
Yes, but at the same time, it's really exciting to get an insight. And obviously for this year, it is so exciting to be able to reveal the audience poll live on stream. We're going to move swiftly on because obviously a lot to get through today. And I know you have, how long do you have? When do you need to leave to get to
Probably
the press
about
centre?
20, 25 minutes. I'm not completely rushed for time, but yeah, obviously we have Dress Rehearsal 1 coming in, 80 minutes time as we're talking. So that's when we're going to actually see this stuff, which I'm really excited
Yeah,
about.
and in many
obviously.
ways, I'm quite glad we started late in some ways because you guys will sort of hear what I am hearing. We'll be passing stuff through as that dress rehearsal gets underway. For now, we are going to be looking at the model. This is not the model. I chose the wrong article. But, of course, we have been talking about this a lot on this stream. We've been talking a lot about, the work you've been doing. I'm just going to search.
Yep, that's the easiest way to do it. For those who do visit Eurovar.com, search bar is very helpful.
Yes. We've been talking about this a lot, and I think it's good to have a chance to sit down, look at where things are now, and sort of say, okay, here's where we've gotten to. This is and this is from yesterday. We briefly touched on this at the end of the last stream. So to go over the headlines again, let's start with the qualifiers in the semi-final. San Marino, as it stands, back in ahead of Iceland. There's been a bit of a jump in points. Also, some heavy swings at the top. Belgium down 20, Netherlands down 25, Sweden and Ukraine up 10. Now, there was a lot of questions about some of these yesterday. Some of these swings and stuff. You see under the hood, you know why they're happening. What are some of the things which we're seeing at the moment which are making these numbers shift?
Rehearsal clips, the primary one. I mean, if you look at the biggest swing here, the Netherlands down by 25. I mean, that's a big drop. Mm-hmm. But we have to remember, of course, all the reaction to that first cloud clip, people criticising the vocal on that. I think that's had an effect. I was at an event on Saturday with Cloud. It was a showcase for him. And the Dutch media, all they were asking about, unfortunately, was this clip. He said he'd had to delete Instagram. That it's been quite difficult for him. I'm really hopeful they can rebound. Obviously, we'll see C'est La Vie today live for the first time. I think the vocal will be just fine, and you might see that move up. The thing is with the model is we take it as a snapshot of the day. So on Sunday, that's what the noise was like. But on Tuesday, because we're going to do an official prediction of this semi-final, the noise could be very different. We're going to have Dress Rehearsal 1, we'll have had the jury show, so people have seen this live, and we'll have the audience poll, which I am a part of this year. I'm actually going to have a clipboard.
Excellent.
So, yeah, lots will change here.
And the one thing I did want to ask about, and I think I've seen Danda in chat has pointed this out, and some others,
It's the vibe.
is about So Iceland and San Marino here. I think San Marino, I'm interested because I wasn't personally particularly thrilled with the clip. I actually thought, I think they've actually gotten it wrong. And so it's interesting to see this movement. But obviously we have things like odds and stuff. Do you know what caused that specifically?
Odds being volatile at this stage. Weirdly, when we took the snapshot last time we did a model, Tutti l'Italia was quite a way down, and so actually what's happened is that it's not fallen perhaps as far as you would expect. Now, I'm willing to say my opinion on this. I'm not sure they've got the staging right for San Marino. I think putting the focus on a DJ on the decks when your singers are in mask is a bit of an odd approach.
Yeah.
That's my view on it. Whereas I think from what I've seen of Vibe, that's probably going to connect more. The good thing about me having a bit of distance from this, I mean, I know I make it, but it's all numbers, and I don't like necessarily put my opinion in it, is I do think Iceland will probably be above San Marino. That's my feeling. But what we'll have to see is when we get new data in, so the audience poll is going to be a part of this, it's going to get implemented, and obviously we'll have all of the bang on shifts that we're going to get in the next day. So this could really move around still. What I like about this for now is it's a good projection of what could happen potentially. This is like a scenario.
And so we're going to park this. We're going to come back to it. We're going to look at the final result. I'm going to go forward to semi-final 2 as well. And in chat, please do ask questions of James because he's happy to answer them.
Yep.
And it'll perhaps help. It's like we were saying with the audience poll. It's interpreting data in the right way, putting it through the right filters in order for it to, in order to get what we're looking for out of it. So we're going to semi-final 2, and there's a very obvious controversial thing here, which I'm going to go straight to, which is Greece. Greece out. That is bold.
That is a very bold prediction.
How does it feel when you do a prediction like this and it spits out something like this and gives a shock?
Yeah.
I guess you just kind of have to stick by your guns, right? It's not like you can. The moment you put your foot on the scales, the entire thing's pointless.
Well, exactly. I have a kind of methodology with the model that holds firm. So as long as I check the methodology is working appropriately, then I do have to stick by it. I mean, I can tell you this. When I put in the numbers for this yesterday morning in the hotel, and I saw Greece was lamp, I initially went, ooh, I should probably check this again.
Yeah.
Because it initially think, wow, that's a really bold call. But then I went and checked it through, and no, it was absolutely going normal. I think this is more about, actually, Armenia going up than Greece going down. The thing is, if you've been following the model, I know that you guys who've been watching the streams have been, because Gabe's been very kindly talking about it, is that Armenia have always been kind of bubbling in this top right corner. They've never really been 14th or 15th or like dead. They've always been nearly there. The thing is, there's a lot of really favourable countries for Armenia. Greece is one of them.
Yeah.
Georgia is one of them. Israel is one of them. So you're going to get points here and there. And because I think the staging for Parg has shown that there's been a big jump in production value. He's got the treadmill, he's running around, so, hopefully you've got your 5Ks in for that.
No, for real.
That's
it's
good.
Exhausting.
And I think all of that has led to Armenia just slowly gaining. And the contrast is with Greece, we've had that 10th the whole time. That I've been saying on the model that Greece, we're not clear on it because Diaspora's a little less strong with it. Asteramata is a bit more jury friendly. I don't think there's been a lot of obvious excitement around the 30-second clip for Claudia.
Yeah, there are some things I think they could have done differently. Like, how they have that sort of the background? I think this would have been a perfect opportunity to utilise augmented reality. So that she was completely among that kind of sea on the rock. I think it could have been a really powerful effect. At the moment, maybe a little static. I do want to talk about, because lots of people are talking about lots of different things in here. So there's a couple of countries I want to ask about. The first one is Latvia. I've seen lots of you
as have I,
talking about Latvia. Latvia, it was in at one stage, wasn't it? Or it was a lot closer.
We've not had Latvia in. It was close at the start, but it's really been around this area the whole time. Is that the model has never been quite confident enough to say Latvia can get in. Now, I think there's a few factors for that, but honestly, I think the primary factor is that the genre of the song is a little bit different. It's early in the show. Ireland and Armenia, which is obviously really in this qualifying competition, are next to it as well. And those songs are a bit more obviously televote friendly. I mean, obviously we can have opinions on it, but the model runs on averages.
Yeah.
We can only use existing data. Ireland, on average, should be more televote friendly. Armenia, on average, should be more televote friendly. So the result of that is that it becomes a bit more difficult for Latvia to gain points. They're getting 12 from Lithuania. Mm-hmm. That's great. I know Ireland are giving them some points. But actually beyond that, they're struggling to get in. And I feel like someone might ask about this, particularly if Bruno's in the chat. Denmark has got the same problem.
Yeah.
Because obviously Denmark has fallen, and I know how many people love hallucination. I'm one of them.
It could have done. I was actually, because we covered this when I talked about in my video about who I think is going to qualify from the semi-final, I highlighted if Denmark could have, from their pot, so you guys know all the Nordic countries plus Australia are in one pot. They've got Iceland, Norway and Sweden in the other semi-final, which has given them Australia and my brain's frozen. Finland.
Yeah, Finland.
Australia and Finland. Australia, which are the two least friendly countries in that pot, right? And that causes them a problem. It makes things more difficult. It's the same that I said with Latvia. Theoretically, Latvia can have both Lithuania and Estonia, right? If put Estonia in this semi-final, okay, and then all of a sudden you're going to see Latvia go from 30 to 42.
Pretty
all
much.
of a sudden it's right on the edge. You know, there are some big ups and downs here. Now, there are some other big swings we're going to talk about. Big swings. The first two actually are right in the middle there, Luxembourg and Czechia. Let's look at that first. What factors changed to make Luxembourg jump like that this week?
So, the qualification odds for the semi-finals are out, and they're being factored into the model now. And the qualification odds for Luxembourg are broadly solid across the board. When we didn't have those qualifier odds, obviously we've seen Laura Thorne quite low down, haven't we? It's around the kind of 30-ish, 30 region. So you would think from there, if they're 30th in the odds, they're not going to do that high. What I think the model's good at, like if I can say it myself, is that it can spot when a song is looking like it will do better than its odds suggest. I mean, Iceland has been way on down in the odds, and I think this has been more confident on Iceland than most.
I mean, it's been bouncing in and out, and I think now it's clearly in contention.
It's right in contention, exactly. With Luxembourg, now the qualification odds are in, and people are broadly saying it's probably going to come 7th, 8th, something like that. What it's seen is actually Luxembourg has a lot of solidity in the model. We only really have 1 year of data of it, which could be a factor. Absolutely might be a reason why. But because of that, Laura Thorne is mainly getting a lot of 3 points, 4 points, just from a lot of different countries, which is somehow what you need to do. And of course, France are voting in this semi-final.
Which helps.
And obviously, La Poupée Monte le Son, it's a French song. It's referencing France Gall. There's obvious appeal there.
I would say, I think they would have loved to have Belgium and Switzerland.
Yeah, definitely they would have.
And I presume this would be even more bullish if that was the case.
Essentially, yeah.
The second one, Czechia, big drop. I interpreted it as having quite a good response, to be honest, from the rehearsal.
Yeah,
so this one surprised me. I looked at this before, and I've seen a couple of people in there too, in chat, talking about this. What's going on there? I know I'm sort of pointing at things and being like, explain this.
Explain this.
But I'd love to know what's
Well, I like going on these because it's a bit like having your homework marked in front of a few hundred people, which is quite daunting in some way. But I think what has happened with Czechia is, again, if we look back to the last model, there's been this big bubble, I think, with Adonis, where initially he was kind of up there in the odds, and then the pre-parties happened, and then he absolutely soared up. I mean, there have been times where on some bookmakers that's been ahead of Ich Komme, that's been ahead of C'est la Vie at points, really, really high up. What I think this is a product of is the odds normalising a bit on Czechia, because now we have a clearer indication of where it is, which is it's probably not going to be in contention to win. It looks like it will get a lot of jury points, and this is maybe my opinion as opposed to the models, I think this is one of those songs the juries love and maybe gets overshadowed during a 26-song grand final.
Yeah. And so I want to look at it as well and say, are there any sort of patterns we're maybe missing? I mean, again, just things that surprise me. Again, I think a lot of people here do not see Ireland through.
Yeah.
And is there, because I know you've talked about the fact that there's things like the style of the song,
Yeah,
and things
that
like
does
this that
play
go
into
into
it.
it. Is that playing to Ireland's favour? Because they've been
does.
consistently overestimated compared to their odds all through the season here.
See, you say it's been consistently estimated compared to their odds, but in pretty much all of the winning odds we've had, Ireland have been higher than 20. So in reality, it's always been in that odds position, able to qualify. Ireland's odds remain relatively robust. They have the whole time. Like a Party is the kind of song, I use that phrase really carefully, the kind of song that does well on the televote. It's going to really appeal to kids and families. It's early on in the show, which is going to help as well. The running order is a factor within the model, and also which songs come before and after it. Ireland is helped by having Montenegro before it, which is a lot more serious, a lot more dramatic, and is, with respect to Nina, a bit of a death slot song.
Yeah, it's tough.
So what you get from that is actually, that might seem like more of a breath of fresh air because we've had that more serious ballad before it. All of those factors are at play in the model, which is why I hope it works out being as accurate as we can get it.
Let's take a look at the top of the scoreboard, because I think there's one big thing when it comes to, because this is televote only. Someone said in chat before about the different difficulties of predicting like the final versus the semi-final.
Massively
Obviously,
different.
you do a forecast for the jury vote.
Yeah.
In the final, have you been tempted this year to sort of activate the jury mechanism in the semi-finals as well, just to see what we end up with? Might be a fun experiment. Just say, okay, well, if we had juries, here's how it might end up.
I'd really like to have done it. We did it last year, actually, for 2024. I can't remember the exact changes that we had, to be honest, so I can't really say. But it might be something that, if we'd had more time this year, that we could have gone and run. I mean, one thing I would definitely say for this semi-final I'm looking at, if we had juries in, we wouldn't be talking about Serbia as being in contention to qualify.
Oh, really?
We would be Serbia would be in.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I was saying, for a second, I was going to say, I was like...
Because I think you can see the way Serbia's moving up. I would say that right now is the country that is producing more threat on the top 10 than Denmark or Latvia. Because I think the staging has been responded to well. It has been boosted in the odds from that.
The thing is, it's so strange, right? Because you say the data does show, like, obviously, it went up in the odds when staging came out, when there were the photos and stuff. But then you see that clip and that mop across the floor. It was ridiculous. It was totally ridiculous. So, like, I actually think it's obviously difficult to predict, but I actually think this might go the opposite way to where the odds are saying, because I think that's actually, people are going to look at that and go, this is stupid.
Do you know what the beautiful thing about this is? Like, irrespective of what the model says and what it does, the beautiful thing about it is that it kind of gets us to have a conversation about the semis and the final in a really different way.
Yeah.
Before, we would just talk about and say, like, oh, this song might go in the top 5.
Yeah.
Or this song might qualify. Now we're getting so in the weeds of like, oh, but this country being in this draw has an effect, or this country being in this position. I think something like this improves the conversations we have about the contest. Like this is great.
It's a great thought experiment. This is the thing. This is why I keep talking about it, is because I want all of you guys to like engage with this stuff, to sort of understand why some of these trends are happening. I mean, the next thing I was going to talk about, because this will be a change since last year. You predicted Israel would finish high. You thought they would do badly with the televote and well with the juries. I presume a lot of the formula has been changed.
Completely changed.
How do you reflect those specific Israel and Ukraine televote effects? Because there's so much uncertainty. Because, you know, obviously right now, I think it's broadly correct. I think Israel will do probably about that well in the semi-final. How do you put that together? Because it's such a unique set of circumstances.
Tricky. It's a combination of things. I mean, if we're talking about... we can talk about Israel as an example because of how differently that performed because of, let's call them external things.
Yes.
So Hurricane was a ballad. Those usually do well in the juries. Eden Golan was a very good vocalist. So those things are going to play a role. We didn't have the historical data for how Israel would perform in this situation. So it takes a guess based on the past data. It got it totally wrong.
Yeah.
Now, we have the hurricane data and what happened with the juries and what happened with the televote. That plays a role. How each country treated Israel in the televote and the jury, that plays a role now because we have all of that data that goes into it. And not only that, this year, shout out to Dolphin Dane and his big Eurovision prediction survey, we now have that in the model where we didn't have that last year. So that's like real Eurofan opinions on this will do this well in the jury, this will do this well in the televote. That plays a role as well. And with New Day Will Rise, we've also got the musical stats of that. I mean, I know it's similar to Hurricane, but, you know, largely speaking, it follows that trend. All of that gets pushed together, essentially, like a mesh. And the result is what you get in the model, which has Israel at the moment in 4th. with about 239 in the televote and 79 in the jury, 77 in the juries.
Yeah. Speaking of, we should go and look at the final. Very quickly, if you have any more questions about some of these semi-final results we've just looked at, please do still post them. We can take a look in a minute. We have time. I'm going to go down to this sort of headline figure here, which has Sweden winning, which is perhaps not surprising. I think what's surprising at the moment is the strength of the jury vote. And I do wonder how much of that is based on Sweden's historical strength with the jury vote rather than this specific style of song.
So to an extent it is, because when you have data country by country, Sweden has had the most jury points of any country over the last 8 years. That's always going to play a role. There is a metric in the model that dampens against that. It basically takes like average of all score, divides it by the average, and then kind of dampens the score.
Right.
It doesn't do it completely, but that's because track record does play a bit of a factor in voting. If you're a juror and you're looking out for all the songs, if you hear it's Sweden's song, you'll go, oh, well, Sweden usually do well with the juries. That is an unconscious bias in jury voting, and it's more important because there's only 5 jurors a country. It's not like everyone in the country voting. So, yes, there is like historical bias in play, but also that has been measured against. 271 is a massive score.
Yeah.
If it gets that, I will be surprised.
Yes.
But let's see. It might.
Yeah, in which case, I imagine you'll be feeling very smug.
Not so much smug, but it'll be interesting to see whether that's close. And if it's wrong, then what the hell?
On the flip side, there's a few more numbers that I want to look into here. Which, firstly, Eric Vickman, obviously I have my own personal bias. I love
Yes,
this
you do.
song. 58 with the juries. This did well in the UMK jury, which, again, which simulates real Eurovision juries quite closely. It only just got beaten out by Goldilocks by a tiny, tiny margin. Her vocal is great. The staging is great. What is it
That drags that down.
Yeah, but also it's weird because it lost points in the semi-final in this update, but it's gone up into 5th place in the final. Admittedly, partly because Claude has fallen.
Well, that is why, really.
But I just want to know why that jury score is so low, because that is the difference in this scenario between coming 5th and potentially challenging for, say, 3rd.
The model doesn't do the televote as one score. It does it as 38.
Right.
It's 38 contests because every country has got a set of points to add, and there's the rest of the world too. So in 38 contests, all of the factors that are at play are different. So what can happen is sometimes not linear because it's competing against other songs. The thing with Erica is that based on all the data we've got, Ich Komme is a very televote-friendly song.
Right.
Based on all the data we've got on the song, based on real predictions from fans in that survey, everyone has said that's a song that is going to do better in the televote. What we have this year is France, Austria, Netherlands are all seen as being more jury-friendly as well. So the result is it's competing against a lot of songs that are probably going to do better in the jury. And there's also Switzerland to consider. There's also Czechia to consider. There's also Israel to consider to some level because Euro is still a ballad. So all of those songs kind of stack up against it, and that makes it harder for Finland to kind of bounce up against them. And when you're down towards kind of 7th, 8th favourite in the jury, you're in the scraps, really, for points, unless you've got, like, your voting allies. Obviously, Sweden will treat it well, and the Baltics and stuff. But then it becomes quite tricky all of a sudden once you're down there. When you're up in, like, the top 3 or 4, you can always rely on getting some points. Further down, it gets really tough. That's why the point spreads behave the way they do.
Yeah. And secondly, on the complete opposite end of the scale, I've seen a few people saying they don't see France getting that high. 354 is a lot. That's Nemo and Loreen levels.
Yes,
dominance,
it's in the middle of those.
which makes not winning the contest overall kind of,
It would be incredible, really, if that was the score that came out. But Maman is, based on the data we've got, it's the second most jury-friendly song in the lineup. Switzerland is the one that's first, by the way. So, in theory, that should stand it better in the jury. The thing with, obviously, Austria would be the main rival in our heads, right?
Yeah.
Opera's not as jury-friendly as people think. I've gone through that genre, and it is, on average, 52% of the points of songs in opera since 2016 have come from the televote.
Okay. That's interesting.
So think of
Grand Amore.
Yeah,
Grand Amore is going to be
Grand Amore is an
distorting that,
example. La Forza is an example. That was dead level. Opera is Nemo is. I know it's more jury friendly, but that's still another example where that got 200 plus televote. opera's really televote friendly because people watching along at home who maybe aren't paying that much attention, maybe focusing on their food, if they hear JJ do that, like I watched him live on Saturday, my God, when he does that, they're all going to sit up, and that's a televote thing. That's not so much a jury thing. The juries know about opera already. It doesn't shock them as much. Televote does. That's why JJ's seen as more level, and France, which is a little less televote friendly in terms of like it doesn't have the same lock, but for the juries, my God, it will.
Now, one more thing on juries. We're going to go down to this here, and there's been one thing that's really sort of been trending up. You've had it high for quite a long time, but we saw after the rehearsal clip dropped, this jumped in the odds.
Yeah, it's had a big jump.
It's in the top 10 now. You've been quite bullish on Switzerland for a while. Do you feel vindicated?
Vindicated, I wouldn't say, because we haven't had a result yet. It's pointless for me to kind of feel vindicated until we know anything. I feel encouraged because I think, obviously, we've only seen one shot in the 30s. I mean, we will only see one shot for 3 minutes, apparently. It looks great. They have clearly used a different kind of lens as well, if you've noticed. Like, that's a very different camera to what everyone else is using. So they've really kind of nailed what they want. Technically, from that gives people confidence. It is going to be such a total contrast to everything else. I think it's such a busy year with stagings. Everyone wants that big moment. Whereas with this, it's just, okay, we're going to chill out. We're going to do what we want. And the result of that, at least according to this little system I built, is in theory, it should get a hell of a lot of jury points. But of course, if you scroll down to the televote, it is only on 7.
Oof. That would be one of the biggest disagreements ever.
Huge. It would be like Michelle Spack level.
Yeah. And I remember, so the biggest ever is Carrier, which was a 224 point
this
disparity.
Would just beat it. 227 it would be.
This would beat it. Now we're going to go down to, I can see Albania here, 61 from the juries, because people are talking about it in chat, so I want to talk about it.
I'm sure.
79 from the public. I imagine with quite a heavy diaspora focus on countries like Switzerland, for example.
Exactly.
But, there goes the headphones. That leaves them in mid-table down here on 140, which is a good result, but I think there are people in chat who would like to see it higher, and I know that in like 2 minutes, the chat is just going to be filled with people going Zurm over and over again. So tell me what's going on here. What is it that puts Albania where it is? What's helping it? What's hindering it?
It's not as high in the odds as I think the Zurm fans would want it to be.
Sure.
That's unfortunately, I like it as well, but at the moment it's not really on the same level as the songs above it. Here's an interesting thing about what I've seen with doing this. If you're high up, you want to be about level. You want to be sort of jury televote level. That way you get a lot of points from both. If you're a little further down, actually you want to be focused on one. Switzerland's a really good example because it's so jury nailed, at least according to the data.
Yeah.
It can get a load of jury points and the televote doesn't really matter much. So it's 7th overall because it's just hoovered all that up. With Albania, it's a bit more in the middle because we do think that the juries will like this and we do think the televote will like this. But because there's not one dominating the other, the result is it's only going for the lower points on both. And as a result, it's kind of fighting for a shallower part of two pools as opposed to diving deep into one.
Right, exactly. That makes perfect sense. Now, I think, you've got sort of... There's a lot to think about here. I will say I'm personally very aggrieved that you only have me getting 30 points.
Well, you're not spreadsheet friendly.
Yes, I am indeed not spreadsheet friendly. Let's. I think we should take some questions from chat about this. So if there's something you've seen in this, no, please don't save it as a PDF. If there's something you've seen in this that you want to ask about, something that you've seen in this model that makes you go, this is interesting, then ask now, and James will answer. Firstly, hi Gabe and Silverstorm. Thanks so much for the £4.99 super chat. Enjoy watching your video. Are they changing the qualifying announcement? As I saw on a web link, they are doing it differently this year. Yes, they are. We're going to talk about it. Haida has just joined, says, I just joined and I missed the first semi-final already. No, don't worry. There's a long time to go today. You do not need to worry. Why is Iceland not number one? Says, who was it? I've lost the name. There we go. Elma in chat says, why is Iceland not number one? We're going to go back to semi-final one. So give us an insight into what's driving Iceland's numbers at the minute. Where are the points coming from? And Yeah, explain, basically.
I'll do it really, really quickly because I've maybe only got like 2 more minutes and then I must run.
Sure.
But here's how I think it will work. There's kind of 3 factors I think at play. Number 1, it's very televote friendly. EDM, the boys are nice. They're very, I mean, your fan base is a perfect example of this.
Yes, they're very likeable.
They're very likeable and they engage a young crowd. They're at the top of the running order. That helps, especially when you're in the first half. Basically, how it works is that if you're sort of opening the show, you're kind of like, and then it drops down for 2, and then as you go through the rest of the show, it sort of builds up. That's an average, isn't perfect, but that's roughly what happens. So Iceland is treated like that. And actually, those are basically the 2 reasons that are driving it upward. Obviously, it would be a lot higher if its odds were higher, but as the boys have said a lot, they have been trying to bet the farm just to get to 33rd in the odds. So that is naturally making it harder.
For sure. Thank you so much, Ollie, for the €5. Money for Gabe's televote marketing campaign to increase his chances of getting up in the model. I'm going to ask one more question, which is from Kay Halazia, because I know afterwards you've got to go, who says, why is Belgium so low right now? It's obviously doing very well in the semi-final, 101 points there, I can see, although that is a significant drop. It was 121 before. If we go to the overall results, apologies for the scrolling, we can find Belgium here, 116. It doesn't really make any progress from the semi-final to the final.
It's 12th place. So this is still left-hand side of the board. That's a thing to know. I mean, people will see 12th and go, oh, that's rubbish. It's still left-hand side. I think the thing with Belgium is it's one of those songs that's a bit more in the middle. It's going to be televote appeal because it's got that EDM sound, but it's going to have jury appeal because of how good Red Sebastian's vocals are. Again, saw him on Saturday, and again, he can sing. So it's going to appeal both ways, and it's a bit like Albania at the moment, to be honest. When it's down in that level, you really want to be focused on one. It's kind of in both, and so the result is lower points.
Right, that makes sense. Well, James, we're going to see you again this week.
Hopefully,
on a couple of occasions. We're going to be looking at the model. I think tomorrow is the next. If there's
the
any
official
spoilers,
semi-final one.
If there's any spoilers immediately after the jury show that you're able to provide us with, please do. We will be happy to receive hints. Make sure to keep track of it on social media. But for now, go enjoy that press centre that you're accredited for.
Sorry.
It was very lovely to have you. And we will see you again very soon. So, we only briefly talked about this, thank you for the headphone, before. I do kind of want to really re-emphasise that this happened. And you know what the thing is? I originally thought, we look a bit like each other, but I thought we'd see each other and be like, oh, it's not actually that much. Having actually met him and taken this photo, I actually think we look like each other more than we did before. So, so you guys were right. I admit defeat. This has made it worse. We are extremely similar. And now, yes, it is Gog and Parg. I don't know what to do with this. We're still trying, I will say. We're still trying to get him on the stream. It would be fantastic. I'm going to full screen myself. It would be really fantastic to get him on stream at some point this week. And I believe I can see there's someone gesticulating at me in the distance. And I believe, okay, he's coming. Right. I'm just going to slide across because it's time for another guest, everyone. And you may be familiar with this person. You're going to need this headphone.
Hey guys. Hi Gabe. Thank you.
Goes in your left ear. We're back. We made it. We're here.
Yay.
Chat says hi, Jern.
Oh.
How are you, Jen? You flew in today.
Yes.
How are you feeling? Are you tired? Are you sleepy?
Am I tired? Do you know what I was doing literally right before?
Were you having a nap on my balcony?
I was asleep.
Okay. So it's actually really funny. So Jay left his phone in the Uber this morning on the way to the airport, which was unfortunate. And one of our friends had to call the Uber driver back, who yelled at him and was like, how, I now have to skip a job. So I just thought you might want to take this chance to sort of reflect on that experience.
Fire.
I have learned that 2 hours of sleep before a flight is not enough.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. Well, very quickly, I want to say thank you to Keely, who just subscribed, not Michael, I presume, on Twitch. Don't forget, you can subscribe on Twitch Prime for free. If you're a member of Amazon Prime, you support us financially. There's Patreon, there's Ko-fi, you can Super Chat on YouTube, you can... there's another one. Super Chat on YouTube. You can become a YouTube member.
Yes.
And if you become a YouTube member, you get videos a day early too. Charlie asks, did he bring, and at Tusker as well asks, did you bring the toothbrush charger?
I think it's the right thing. You have the base of it, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, good. I have my toothbrush
Yeah.
charger. That's a relief. So, you've been following along, I'm sure, at home and everything else. We've seen the semi-final 1 clips, and we're going to go through some of it together. But first, I wanted to get a general overview of what you're happy with and what you're worried about.
What I'm happy with, okay. I'm very happy with Finland. Like, she took the UMK staging and elevated it, which is what Finland tend to do. Remember, like, Cha Cha Cha, like... The staging at UMK was really good, but they really elevated it for Liverpool.
They added the box.
Yes, exactly.
Windows 95 Man as well. Not quite as much. They didn't add quite as much, but it was things like the jag lit up, for example.
Exactly. So yeah, Finland tend to do quite well with their like staging revamps. I'm also really happy with Switzerland.
Oh,
my gosh. Seeing that rehearsal clip made me so happy because I was afraid they were gonna, like overstage it. And I think they did a fantastic job. Just like that 10-second clip, you can tell like it's gonna be really emotional, really like the vibe will fit the song. Like the staging will fit the song, which is great to see. Things I'm not too happy with. Portugal.
Oh, but you love that song.
I really love that song, but I think it could have done with like more. You know how what was that one? Love Is on My Side. How they like
with the narrow lens, the black and white.
Yeah,
right.
Like they really elevated the song with the staging. I think this time they didn't really do that, unfortunately. And I love that song, but I don't think it will qualify now.
Indeed.
Which is sad, but
yeah, I also think it's going to really struggle. I feel bad because I bumped into the Portuguese head of press before when I was doing interviews, and we will watch those interviews in a little bit. By the way, they're all ready to go. We spoke to, you weren't here yet, but I spoke to Remember Monday and Tautumeitas today. Especially, I'll give you one small spoiler. There were tears in the Remember Monday interview. There were actual, literal tears in the good tears.
Okay.
I didn't make them cry. I didn't make them sad. We also have some other surprises today. In a little bit, we have basically. There's been one of my favorite things about Eurovision is the goodie bag. This will return later. In this bag, I have chocolate Eurovision hearts, courtesy of Basel, which you can see here. Ooh. Which, when you break them open, have confetti, edible confetti inside.
What?
So we're going to open that up in a bit. And potentially, for those of you watching who are in Basel or might be in Basel soon, we may give them away. Maybe we can also post them. Point is, we will give one of these confetti hearts away so you can have one yourselves. We will do that later. I'll work out a way to do that. We're going to take a quick look at clips again in a minute because we looked at them yesterday, but we've had a bit more time to think about it and also want to get your perspective. First, we're going to look at the odds, and I'm absolutely certain that everyone just heard the door bang really loudly. So here's where we're at the moment. Key stories here that have happened in the last day or so. Number one, you can see at the top, all of those bookmakers that are offering odds of 0 to 1, that means they are no longer accepting bets. They will not, if you bet $1 on Sweden qualifying with Bet365 and they qualified, you'd get $1 back. They will not give you anything. That means that they're absolutely 100% certain now. There's a few others who are in that position. Obviously, Boyle Sports there is offering it on 4 songs. Most of this is predictable. Most of this is not surprising, except for Belgium being so low. What's interesting is, for the first time, Slovenia is just slipping ahead of San Marino. You've seen the rehearsal clips.
Yeah.
We'll have a little look at them now. We'll start with San Marino. And I would love to know, I've got to mute that, there we go. I would love to know, what is it about this that you think has turned people off?
Can you hear it?
We can't play the sounds.
Oh, okay. It's the fact that it's very obvious that, like, he's not really doing anything. Like, he's just jumping around. It kind of feels like an interval act. It's just...
I think it's the problem with DJs. I mean, I know you were a fan of Lucas Meyer and Grome.
Was I?
Well, you in some ways. But obviously that didn't go down well. Pia Maria and Lumix.
Oh, that was so heartbreaking.
That didn't go down well. To be fair, that was probably because Girl couldn't sing.
No.
Girl could not sing at all.
She was AI.
No, literally, she doesn't exist.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the same problem. You can't connect with a DJ in the same way on a screen.
Yeah.
And the singers are blocked off, and there's no dancers. They have others playing instruments, but no, like, just dedicated dancers. This should have been a party. It could have been a party if they'd approached it in a different way. And because of that, I think it's going to fall dramatically.
Yeah.
I think after tonight, this is going to drop out. These two are going to push up. Obviously, we will be here with you guys to see that. It may be that it comes third in the audience poll, right? It could go in completely the opposite direction, but we will see. Someone says Jernry Ponty. I don't like that. I didn't enjoy that. And poor Jay, look how sad he is. He's had a really tough day. He left his phone in an Uber. On the flip side, moving in the other direction has been Clement. Again, I ask you the same question. Mm-hmm. What is it about this that you think is pushing it up in the odds, that is making people think it's going to qualify? If you think, if your answer is, I don't understand why it's so high in the odds, that's also a valid answer, as long as you explain why.
Yeah, no, I don't understand. But good for him.
Well, look, I think, what is it about, you don't find this particularly interesting, and I know that, but if you could just explain, kind of, essentially, do you just find the package uninteresting? Do you find, like, you can't engage with it? Is the song too boring? What's the story here?
I just find it a bit too boring. I'm not really into songs like this. Like, you know, my music taste.
It's too heavy for you.
Okay. It's just... I can't.
Look, go on, continue.
I don't find this very interesting. The staging is very orange as well.
It is orange, but at the same time, it's meant to be warm, right? I understand why they've gone for this color palette, and at the very least, he's very distinguished from the stage. He doesn't blend in. I think it was a smart choice to bring his wife on stage to sort of really ram it home, and I imagine there will be a little bit more of this in the final that we'll see. Dando in chat says this gimmick worked 7 years ago, but won't anymore. I think it's entirely possible that is the case. What I will do, though, because I saw one guy, I can't remember his name, but he had a Sweden flag username, has been asking for a poll for about half an hour. Okay, so I'm going to ask you a poll, which will finish higher, firstly, because I think only one is qualifying. Which one of these is finishing higher, Slovenia or San Marino? And that started. If there's a Twitch mod in chat, if you could set that up, I can see B, I think, is in chat. Please do that. Yes. Bang on cue.
This shot does kind of remind me of that one Norwegian song, Monster Like Me.
Really? That's interesting. What was the specific shot you think? I mean, you love that song. You adore that song.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite songs. It's just like in the I can't speak. In the MGP final, they had like a spinning shot with them back to back.
Right.
So
Okay.
it kind of gives parallels to that.
Ellis was the one, by the way, who wanted the poll. There you go, Ellis. You are welcome. Oh no,
Adam
P.
P.
Dear, oh dear.
Our
But no.
dear friend Adam P.
So I'm very clean. I'm very keen. I'm also. Well, I did have a shower earlier, so I am also very clean. But I'm very keen to hear your thoughts on this song. Obviously, we have a lot to get through today. We are going to talk about everything in the semi-final. It's just yesterday we went through it song by song. Today I'm going to try and go on storylines. I think after this we'll maybe talk a little more about Iceland, a common subject on this channel. And then after that, we will get into the interviews. We've got Remember Monday, which we'll have coming up first. And then later, we will also have Tautumeitas. Thanks, everyone, for joining, I should say. It's obviously wonderful to see so many people here. Please do, if you haven't already, make sure you're following on social media. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. There's so much coming. All week. We're going to be streaming tonight during the jury show. We're going to be getting feedback from people in the room, from people in the press centre, so you will hear everything you need to hear here, and you will also see that audience poll result that we discussed before. So there's lots and lots coming.
I'll be at the jury show.
Oh, you can text me everything.
Yes.
Like literally continuous J stream of thoughts
Okay.
into my messages, please.
All right.
What I'll do is I'll create a channel somewhere, like on Discord, rather than on because I don't want it on WhatsApp because my phone needs to be operating. So, where will you be during the jury show stream? I will be right here, bringing you guys all the latest news, bring together everything that we're seeing across different social medias, all the clips in one place. We can show clips again without sound. We can show clips posted on social media by fans who are in the room. We can show those clips and we will. So if there are things that are happening, new tricks, you will see them on this stream, right? We will be highlighting them as the show goes on. So we keep on going. The dress rehearsal starts at 9 p.m. time in Basel. I will be starting the stream about 30 minutes before that at 8:30. So we have some time to bed in. Now, we were going to talk about Iceland. We are now going to talk about Iceland. Now, I remember, and I'm sure you remember, Jay, a couple of weeks ago.
Yes.
Fire.
When we were, and I was talking about this yesterday, we were on a voice call with Vibe after we finished filming the Minecraft video. And we were like, obviously, we're not going to tell anyone, but tell us about the staging. And they were just like, Minecraft. And that was exactly what they delivered. They are serving Minecraft. And also, thank you very much, Stephen, for renewing your subscription over on Twitch. Let's watch this clip quickly. Can I just say, I absolutely love this. The volcano on the back is just great. It's such a nice touch.
It's really fun. And the fact that this is first in the running order when a bunch of kids will probably be watching
At the
it
earliest
really
point in the
helps.
show.
Yeah.
With voting, I believe, is voting open for the whole show in the semi-finals or just the final? I need to check that out. Because it's
idea.
open for the whole show in the final.
Yeah.
So, I'm excited. I think they're doing what they need to do. Let me just... Oh, I rated it already. Okay.
Wait, if we can't have sound, why do we have headphones in?
What? Well, because... Anyway, reminds me of the first video when I did the whole first video with headphones.
Yes. Oh my god.
Like, seriously, we can go look back at this. Give me a moment. Take a look at this very first... let's take a look at this very first video on this channel, which somehow was 18 months ago, which is crazy.
Oh my god.
Right? If we open this up...
Wait, what? You're not even wearing headphones.
Firstly, I wasn't wearing headphones at the start, and then you skip forward. Why are they suddenly there?
What were you
just
listening
dangling
to?
there? Nothing. I was just sat there with headphones in, and then I realised halfway through, and then just kept them in.
You just
I could've
find it
taken them
comfy.
out. I could have just taken them out again. Dear oh dear.
You even mentioned it, and you said you're not gonna change it. So like, This is your fault.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I was going through a lot. Anyway, back to the task at hand, which was Iceland.
Do you have your Icelandic flag?
I actually don't have flags with me because my bag was so full I didn't have any space. Do you have an Icelandic flag?
I have an Icelandic flag.
Okay, good.
What do you mean?
Do you have
there's
it here? Can
I
I?
have it
Oh,
here.
actually, you're taking it to the arena.
Yeah.
Later in the week, we'll put it
Yes.
on
Okay.
here.
Yeah.
You're back tomorrow, aren't you? Bring it with you.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think the thing is that what is making them underrated is like, I think people don't put enough emphasis on the level of charisma that these guys have. And by the way, we'll come back to it in a moment. Slovenia 57, San Marino 42. We'll do a 3-way poll in a second to see if it's to see where it goes because only one of them's qualifying.
You're spoiling them.
Their charisma, I think that the song is more fun than San Marino. They have more charisma than that. It's silly. It's a bit of fun. I think there's this really nice moment that I think will actually sell it for a lot of people in the bridge. You know, when they I think they'll probably do it again in this show, but in the national final they did it. They kneeled down, they took off the glasses and just sort of smile into the camera.
Yeah.
It's this really nice personal moment and it helps build that connection that you might not otherwise get so easily.
Yeah.
And I really love it. I think it's just a really, really special thing. We will poll on it because of course we will. People are still asking about the toothbrush charger. Yes,
We
he
have
did
it.
bring the toothbrush charger. By the way, I was about the headphones. We are going to need them because we're going to be playing the Remember Monday interview next.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So, right. I am going to start a poll now, and I'll leave the Twitch mods to do it on Twitch. Who will qualify out of the 3 songs we talked about? Who will qualify? Question mark. So we'll put them in the order. So we've got Iceland, we've got Slovenia, and we've got San Marino. Because I'm 100% certain of the 9 songs, the top 9 in the odds in this semi are 100% qualifying. I'll show you those in the odds again, just to remind everyone. These 9 are totally safe in my opinion, bar an absolute, a huge upset, which could probably only affect like Cyprus or maybe Belgium.
Do you think the Netherlands?
No, come on, don't be silly.
I know,
totally fine.
I know, but
It was one bum note in a rehearsal. One bum note in a rehearsal and everyone loses their minds. Let's not be ridiculous about this.
poor Portugal.
It's the thing, it's a great song. It's just, I'm not sure it's a Eurovision song. The votes are flying in. Please do, although it is very conclusive. Make sure to vote if you haven't already. I can see almost 300 of you have as it stands. And we also await the results over on Twitch, which are also looking most conclusive. So as the Twitch poll comes to a close, I will close it here too. I'm going to press that end poll button. And I am going to quickly change the scene on this side. So 71% of you said Iceland, 19% Slovenia, 8% San Marino. That is conclusive. And it's even more conclusive over on Twitch where 80% of you said that it will be Iceland that qualifies. I hope you're right. Mackerel says Poison Cake 2025 and also he won't give up on Portugal.
I don't want to give up on Portugal yet.
He's an Arsenal fan. He's used to following lost causes.
Oh.
Now, next up, this morning I was very, very lucky to get some time to sit down with the absolutely wonderful girls from the UK, Remember Monday. And it was a really nice, we spoke for about 12, 13 minutes. That's what we're going to watch it together now. I may pause it and make comments from time to time. We're going to go through it together, much like you guys remember us doing over at LEP as well. Mackerel's angry. Good. So we're going to play this interview. I'm going to make sure the levels are all right, but it should be all fine. We had a great view, by the way. We're up on like the 30th floor of the building or something. And I should say thank you to Sem Anna van Dijk from Eurofoire for his help with filming. Why is there no sound?
Oh no.
It'll be fine, I'll fix it. I see what's wrong. Give me a moment. There really is no sound.
Please tell me. Oh my god. The video definitely.
Yeah, no, don't worry, there is sound. When I export it, it's fine. Okay, right, what we'll do is we'll come back to that in a minute. I'll diagnose what's wrong with that. Worst case scenario, I'll play them tonight on the Jury Show stream. Mm-hmm. But we had a really good conversation about... We do kind of look. It was like it was in like a little business meeting room.
It looks very like corporate.
It was quite a corporate space. It's true, but it was a lot of fun. See these all.
What is this?
Yeah, exactly. There's all kinds of things going on behind the scenes here. Jay's amazed / terrified by my setup. So I think it's a problem with our headphones actually. So if you just pass it back to me for a moment. We're going to do the old trick. You put them in the box. And you close the box.
Yeah.
And you open the box.
Thank you.
And you put them back in. And 90% of the time, that fixes whatever problem you have. It actually did. It literally did. That's the stupidest thing ever. Right, okay. We're going to try that again. Here is Remember Monday. And you should... It is still... Thing is, now it's not coming through on that one. It'll be fine. We'll fix it. I just got to do this. This is the thing with these kinds of setups. It's so ramshackle. I remember telling you guys yesterday how shocked I was that everything was working. Do you remember? I was literally like, oh, wow, everything is so slick and it's so, everything's just going fine. I feel really, I'm really glad it's all working so well. That was some famous last words that I said right there, because today it's being a lot more... grumpy. Okay, I see why. So we're going to select this one. And then in theory... Yes, okay. I think we're in business now. So...
Yay.
Attempt 3. It's a Monday.
Yay!
I'm in Basel. I'm here with Remember Monday. I'm sure you've never heard that line before. And we're going to talk a little bit about the circus that's going to unfold for the next week. But first, I have to ask, because this is the intense question that's been burning, it's on everyone's lips. What is it like to have Jennifer Hudson throw a shoe at you? Context, they were on The Voice. While they were on The Voice, at their audition, they sung Kiss from a Rose by Seal, right? Mm-hmm. They sung Kiss from a Rose by Seal. And at the end, Jennifer Hudson threw her shoe onto the stage. Because the thing is, if someone throws a shoe at you, it means you've got soul.
I love that.
I can't tell if it's like not gone in or if you're just like
no,
too tired to...
I get it.
Okay, I thought it was really funny. I'm just going to play the interview.
We'll never recover. It's on our CV right at the very top.
Let me tell you, there's only one reason why our song starts with "Someone lost a shoe."
And that's why. So is that the actual... It's a nice kind of double...
lost it.
I guess it's a nice reference back, but also in some ways, like having done The Voice and come from this kind of competitive environment... I need to stop thumping my hands. In some ways, it means when you come into this environment, you have more of that idea of like, well, I'm, sort of being judged against my peers. Does it help you sort of prepare a bit more? Like sort of put that in a little mental box that's easier to deal with?
Yeah, I think so. I think we also... We're very used to, we all come from theatre backgrounds and we're so used to constantly having to compete, sometimes with your friends, which is can be a really horrible thing. So you kind of have to train yourself to have the right mindset for it and not let the competition affect you so personally. Yeah. So I think we're all we feel good about that side of things, don't we?
Yeah.
And I guess the thing is with the Eurovision experience is it's such a kind of it's a family affair almost.
Absolutely. It really is.
And you're going through this thing with all these other people who are all in the same position as you. And I guess you guys have now... Do you find yourself starting to sort of almost root for everyone else as well? You just want everyone to do so well.
100%. We fully have the people that we're rooting for.
I know, yeah.
I'm probably going to vote for.
And obviously that's still to come. And the thing is there is this kind of circus in some ways, right? It's non-stop. Yeah. You have people like me coming in and yapping at you non-stop for months, and I know how busy everything is too. When you have those little moments where it's like, okay, we have 5 minutes, we have some chance for calm, for peace, how do you make the most of that and to decompress and relax properly in the midst of all of this?
Do you know what? We haven't actually had. No. The moments of kind of peace are when the hotel room door shuts and we're on our own and going to sleep, really. But we just try and, I think the three of us find it very, very important to put our friendship first and check in with each other and protect each other and have moments where it's just the three of us to decompress and to kind of just make sure that we're all good and all okay. But our team is so great.
Yeah.
We actually just can't help but want to be surrounded by them all.
We love them. They're so brilliant.
This was actually going to be the next thing. Sorry, go on.
No, it's okay. Even last night we were like, well, let's just have dinner, just the three of us
Three of
tonight.
us.
And then we just saw members of our team walking past, and we couldn't help but be
Guys,
like,
come and join. Then by like 10 p.m. it's like
Our
everyone, the
whole
delegation, like. And we were just like, that was so fun.
Yeah, it's so good.
You know, this is actually the thing as well, and I remember I briefly spoke to ahead of the event. I won't embarrass them by name, but I briefly spoke a couple of weeks ago at something in London. I bumped into someone by complete coincidence, and they were sort of like, "There's this kind of positive Sam Ryder-esque," was the phrase they used, kind of vibe around the camp, where it's just like this kind of
It's
this
not
joy,
yeah, they
this
are
happiness.
insanely nice.
But
they
also,
are the loveliest people.
There's this obviously this focus now that we as a country have kind of developed in the last few years. And so the next thing I was going to ask conveniently was, what does it feel like to have a team, because it's a team game, that is backing you guys so hard, that is making this vision come true?
Honestly, it feels so supported. It feels like we've all got the same goal in mind. We've all got the same energy. It does. It really, really feels. I think supported is the best word.
and we're such big fans of the work that our team have all done. You know, Ace Bauman, our creative director, the work that they've done is honestly phenomenal, and we were fans before they came on board for our project. You know, even things like our manager managed the Spice Girls. He formed the Spice Girls. And, you know, it's things like that. Like everyone on our team, it feels like they're all so. You're right.
Sorry, I've got a slight tickle in my throat there.
There you go.
I think I've inhaled some gas. Thank you.
And you've in the last 5 seconds you've delivered more stress to your poor press team off camera than for the rest of the week combined, and that's now 6 hours of vocal rest.
It was really funny when
planned
she
in
coughed. It
extra.
was like,
We just
and I
are
said
big
that
fans of all the work that has
the
come
press
before
liaison
us.
for
Yeah,
the BBC
so
was.
we just
Look,
feel
I
so
looked at
excited
her. She
to
looked
work with everyone.
terrified.
I think it shows as well that, like, as a country and like as a broadcaster, there was this kind of, a few years ago, things kind of ticked over. I mean, I'm sure you guys felt it too, right? Like that big wave of positivity that has sort of come in the last few years. And do you detect sort of, you know, you've spoken to Graham back home, you've spoken to all the different TV channels and everything back in the UK. Do you detect that the way they're speaking about Eurovision is changing? And we're sort of maybe in a different place to a few years ago, where suddenly it's like, well, we're not just going to fall back on the old kind of, you know, oh, well, no one likes us anyway. But it's actually like, we could really do something here. And like, when we bring our best performance, we could go and compete.
God, just
really
stop
high up
touching
on
the
scoreboard.
table!
Do you feel that now that's a kind of feeling that is shared, obviously amongst you guys, but also around the whole narrative of the contest in the UK?
I think we've definitely felt like every kind of interview we've done or radio show, I mean, the amount of support that we've had kind of across the board has been overwhelming and amazing. And it's been bucket list goals after bucket list goals for us of like, like radio play and TV interviews that I do think maybe a few years ago weren't there as much maybe, but I guess our experience is all we kind of know, and we definitely feel like everyone's kind of
It's so
got
true.
used to
It's
it.
hard to
Yeah.
tell because obviously we don't know what everyone else's experience is, and sometimes, you know, when we do get certain comments from amazing people, we go like, oh, do they say this to everyone? Or, but it does feel special. We feel our team, there's just such a supportive unit that we have, and we're treating this so seriously. We really, really care, and we really, really, really want to do the UK proud. And hopefully we will. But no matter what, we will definitely look back on this experience as the most incredible thing we've ever done.
I definitely think like the optimism is growing. I'm sure the thing is that I think a lot of people don't realise, you know, there's a lot of comments and stuff that people make online. All the artists see everything. Everyone's watching.
Yeah,
But
we
I'm
see it all.
But I'm sure you've noticed the way in which, you know, that rehearsal clip came out. And this is the thing, and we see the giant chandelier, which I'll ask you about in the moment, but also the extra harmonies, you know, all these extra things you're doing, and it's sort of there's this real kind of, we're not messing around. For context, everyone, at the end of the interview, since we're talking about this rehearsal clip, if you haven't seen it already, we will take a quick look at the UK rehearsal clip and to explain some of the things behind this. Let's continue. You know, this isn't about, you know, the sort of, like I said, that kind of previous mentality maybe 10 years ago that the UK public had. It's like, we're not here to play, we're serious about getting higher up the leaderboard. My confidence is increasing. It feels like the fans' confidence is increasing. Is your confidence increasing now that this could really be a great result?
Oh yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, when we chose the song, it was with the live performance in mind.
Yeah.
To be honest, so we've back in January when the song was chosen, we were already thinking about how it would come across on the Eurovision stage. We weren't necessarily thinking about how it would do, you know, as a streaming song or a radio play song. Our whole focus was Eurovision.
Yeah.
Singing this live.
Yeah. So we honestly love performing it so much. It's so much fun.
It really is.
And we care so much.
Yeah.
We care so much about this performance, about this whole experience, and we genuinely just want to do the performance and be able to be proud. We look back at it and be proud, and the UK be proud. We really, really care.
Yeah.
I think as well, I mean, this is the thing, authenticity now, people can sense it a mile off, right? And when I see the rehearsal clip, when I see the stage performance, as a teenage theatre kid who spent all of their sixth form years in the music rooms at school,
That was us. That's how we met.
in a lot of ways, it still feels like, I hear you guys sing, it's this amazing show, but at the core of it, I'm still seeing like these, you know, 3 theatre kids in that music room. And, but there must be, for you guys, so the reason I wanted to ask was, does it still feel like that for you? That same feeling, like it's so carefree, it's so joyous. So in some ways, it feels like you're still just...
It's not good. We're really emotional. Sorry.
It's just, it's this beautiful thing, right? It's like you've carried this whole arc all the way from where you started to now.
That's enough. That's enough for you.
I apologise, but
Stop
point
that.
is, does it? But point is, it must feel really special to sort of be doing what you've always loved doing, and in many ways doing the same, you know, the same kinds of things you were doing back then, but now in front of all these people. I'm so sorry, I didn't mean to make you cry.
It's so funny because that statement is it. That's our whole friendship. That's how we met.
Yeah.
It's our whole training. We've trained our whole lives in musical theatre and been best friends singing together for over 14 years. And sometimes we do have to be reminded, like, I'm sorry, look how far you've come, and look how at these amazing things that you're doing, the three of you. And we've sat in our living rooms and sobbed because we feel like we're just never gonna make it or never gonna get to this goal that we have. And genuinely, we are so proud of ourselves, and we no matter what happens, we are so proud and we are so happy. And we're having the time of our lives, even though we're crying.
It is so true. Like the 16-year-old versions of us that we were when we met, they would honestly never believe it. They would never believe it. And this has all just come from us literally loving singing together and just carrying that on. And so
not
it's
stopping.
lovely.
At those hurdles, just pushing through. I think that is the, you know, we've learnt from everything we've done through the years, and we're so proud of ourselves. I know that sounds,
and also just so grateful to be here. Like, oh my goodness,
so overwhelmed.
We love Eurovision. We love it so much. So good.
It's total standard, like, teenage theatre kid obsession, by the way. Like, we were all the same. We all saw it and we were like, this. Yes, this is us.
Yeah.
I think that's a really beautiful place to wrap up, I think. I think, you know, I'm going to be, I think at that moment in the bridge when it all falls away and you just sort of say, what the hell just happened? And give out that little laugh of disbelief.
I'm so scared we're going to cry.
Even
the
if
note
you...
after it is so damn high. And when we cry, it all gets lost.
It'll just be like, hold it together, just a few more seconds.
That moment is so emotional for us.
Yeah,
it's
really
so heavy because we're just like,
everything comes
down. You
For
just
sure.
realise where you are, and we've got to keep it together.
But yes, on behalf of myself, on behalf of the UK, on behalf of theatre kids everywhere, thank you so much. And good luck. We are all rooting for you.
Thank you so much.
And there we go. I have to say, I was obviously super excited. You know, this is my own country, and I think there's always something like special about, you know, everyone really wants to root for their own country's entry, right?
Yeah.
I remember how I felt about Sam Ryder in 2022, but this was just one of the most
fire.
wonderful interviews to be able to do, because, you know, sometimes you meet people and they're just so sincere.
Yes.
And like they are, it's like I said in that interview, it's this combination of the joy of it and the sort of, I mean, the title is fitting, right? The sort of, oh my gosh, like this is an amazing experience. It's the combination of that, but also the sincerity, the focus.
Yeah.
And it's getting, you know, I find myself rooting for them more and more. I will play their rehearsal clip in a minute. Thank you, Fancy Confetti, by the way, for subscribing. And apparently you said that had you teary-eyed, and that really, really, you know, means a lot. I think this is the thing. And I think it touches right to the core of why I love Eurovision, why so many people love Eurovision. If you ask artists, you ask fan media, is that there are an awful lot of kids, you know, who love this contest, who go into things like musical theatre, who are sitting in those, you know, music rooms. Often, I remember in my school, it was like this sort of really old drum kit in a battered music room. And at the time,
mine was the same.
At the time, the thing that I was thinking about, I remember I had an audition at the Royal Northern College of Music that I was practicing for. And the song that they mandated you had to play, I had to play two songs. One was optional, like you choose whatever you want. And I chose Strange Deja Vu by Dream Theater, which you will never have heard. But it's really tough on the drums, so it was like a nice thing. The second one was Rosanna by Toto, which, I mean, you would have heard Africa, same band.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard Rosanna. I played that song over and over. I remember I sat for hours and hours and hours. And I remember the level of like graft to get to that level, to be, you know, to be able to take it forward, and the amount of desire you had to have.
Yeah.
Like, because it's not just about loving music. It's not just about having a talented, you know, being talented, being, you know, and having a good voice, especially when it comes to musical theatre. You have to be like obsessed with it. You have to love it so, so much. And it was like, in some ways, it was, you know, it was like talking to them. I was like, you know, sort of seeing a lot of my own experiences and stuff from when I was a teenager. And so it was just really, the whole experience was really lovely. I mean, obviously I was there. You saw that for the first time. Was there anything that struck you about?
Just like, because I did music and drama for my GCSEs, so I was surrounded by musical theatre kids, and they just, I can see and you as well, like being in the music rooms and stuff. I used to hang out in the music rooms as well, and it's like I've seen my friends, you know, like have a real passion for like musical theatre and like singing and stuff, and to think that one of those kids in those music rooms has made it, like, it's really cool. And like, that could be anyone sitting in a music room right now. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's like, I'm so invested in it now. This is the thing. And like, over the last 3 or 4 weeks, it's like they have been on an irresistible march to make me more and more emotionally invested in this. The turning point for me was when I saw them at LEP, and it sounded so good. That's London Eurovision Party. It was so good. The harmonies were so stunning. After that, the whole thing flipped on its head, and all of a sudden I was like, God, I really, really want these girls to do well. And it has just grown and grown since then. And obviously then to sort of culminate in this, it's obviously like, it's really nice because it's special for them to be in Eurovision. It's really special to be able to speak to them, to engage with them. And obviously I'm really thankful to their team for setting that up. Fancy Confetti says, Remember Monday, living out every theatre and Glee Club kid's ultimate dream. and Gabe and Jay helped share that passion with the rest of us. That's exactly it. I 100%. I should have. If there was more time, this is the kind of thing I would have loved to. I bet Pitch Perfect, Glee. I 100% guarantee they would have watched those shows as teenagers. I should have asked them at what point did they feel Glee fell off, because in my opinion it ended 3 seasons too late. Like if they'd stopped it at the end of season 3, it would have been such a perfect piece of television, but because they kept going, it's like, well, in any case,
I've never watched Glee in my life.
you know, that actually really surprises me. That's all.
Wow. Wow.
I would have
okay.
had you down as a Glee kid.
No.
Mysterious. Oh well. All the songs are too heavy for you anyway. So there's been a lot of stuff in chat. One thing I wanted to talk about, we'll go back to Semi 1 in a minute, talk about a bit more stuff, and then later we're going to come to Tautumeitas as well. A lot of people have been commenting on the turquoise carpet yesterday.
Yes.
And now I think there are some photos, I think, on Eurovision TV, so we might be able to get some high quality, some sort of high definition look at some of the artists, which I think will be nice. But also, I think there's been a lot of conversation about the way the carpet was run, about the things that worked, the things that didn't. I'd love to hear your thoughts in chat. Obviously, you guys were watching it. The thing I would point out, and I pointed this out yesterday, wow, the EBU's website just doesn't work. There it is. Press galleries.
Yay.
Now, have they uploaded Turquoise Carpet album? Perfect. I'll give that a moment to load. That has not loaded properly. There we go. So I will say there's, they got some really gorgeous photos out of this. And I will say, like, from the artist's point of view, I think it's one of those things that they'll be able to look back on and sort of, look at with a lot of positivity. In my opinion, some of these outfits were really great. Erica looked amazing.
Yes.
At the same time, there was a lot of men in suits.
Yep.
And it's also like these little moments, capturing the moments between the artists like this. Although from this angle, it does look a bit like she's about to struggle. But it's just so sweet seeing the way they interact. Look at this guy watching in the background. He's just got a,
That's you.
That was literally. I have a much better hairline than that. Don't you dare. Anyway, at the same time, the way it was organised was messy. I think it was very ambitious going from last year to this year, like the difference in scale. I talked yesterday about institutional knowledge not being carried in this sense because it turns so much. There was particular criticism, zooming in on these girls. You'll see more of them later. Of course, we did do an interview with them today. And so we're going to say, and Stephen says, it was organised by and ran by students of broadcasting schools. You could tell the cuts were frantic. The commentators were making weird comments. The hosts were unprofessional. I think it's tough because I think what you want in an ideal world is to give those opportunities to people because it's an amazing opportunity. If you're a student to be able to run that kind of event.
Yeah, definitely.
But maybe, you want to you may want to change the balance next year. There was particular criticism there was an interview that Kyle Alessandro did with the hosts of the Turquoise Carpet.
Oh, yes.
Where, it's things like, when I go into an interview, right? Like, for example, for today, I don't know if I can show you, but nearly threw my phone on the floor. So if I'll just show it on camera. Obviously, you won't be able to see it because it's going to be a bit zoomed out. But literally, I have... This is my interview notes. Right? I have tons of notes, tons of things I've got written out. I don't even ask all of these questions because I just I take the interview where it goes. You always prepare. You always have stuff in mind. And it's important to understand the artist and what is behind the song. So I think what would have been really good would have been if there was just a bit more briefing there. I don't know. It's there's these kinds of things.
A bit more research being done before.
Apparently, and Sinner, and I saw it. So nice to meet you, by the way, Sinner. I saw your comment just before as well. I hope you have a really great, safe journey home and you enjoy the rest of the contest. And it was a real pleasure to meet you. Zero crowd control in the streets other than barriers, pushing, shoving to get anywhere, zero walking space. Yeah, again, it's just a lot of a lot of moving parts. When you scale up the event in that way, maybe it didn't go perfectly. Armin makes a good point in YouTube chat that there hasn't been a single turquoise carpet where at the end of it we got to the end of it and thought, oh, that was good. Liverpool, actually, you know what? If I was going to highlight one, it wouldn't be Liverpool. I think I said this yesterday. The Turin one, I don't know how. I can't remember how well it was run on the day, but the pictures in that glorious backdrop
I remember. Yeah.
was amazing. And I think that's the kind of thing you want to see. And like I say, I mean, some of the pictures and stuff and the backdrop on the square. I will just put this on screen. Okay, that just doesn't work. Oh, there we go. It's got to press the wrong one. And I opened up one of the wrong scenes. But like, I will say, by the way, I didn't ask the girls about this. I have no idea whether it was intentional or not. But colours of the trans flag. Obviously, at a tough time for trans people in the UK. But I thought they looked stunning. And they're sort of giving Powerpuff Girls a little bit. Do you know what I mean? And I've been thinking this all through all different. All the different like public appearances they've done. Stephen's pointing out a few more things about the host. Not knowing the song name of Melody in Spain, saying your song is called Una Esadira or something. Obviously the Kyle one we mentioned. This is your second participation to Miriana. Is confusing her with Destiny. I mean, come on, like it's just like I say, you really want to prepare for these things well. And Softest Stages says, I think sass that comes with drag queen territory doesn't gel well when you're interviewing people who have English as a second, third language. I think the best person to ask about from that perspective, GJ Koyman is going to be on the stream later in the week. Obviously, he works a lot with he is here working with Out TV. So I think his perspective on this is going to be really, really interesting because this is like, he is the expert when it comes to those kinds of cultural references. And like, I'm a straight dude. I'm not qualified. Like I say, I thought the one thing that was great was seeing how stunning all the artists looked. It's nice to come onto a picture of Claudia. This is one of my favorite looks. I have to say, I thought she looked absolutely stunning. Like, she was like a sort of Greek princess almost. And it's nice because she's dressed very dark on stage, to see these kind of bright colors. I think as well because she's had a limited amount of opportunities to sort of truly express her personality, because she hasn't done the pre-parties and stuff. It's lovely to see, and I think I appreciated it very much. We're gonna stick on this. Let's try and end with a positive on this one. And so, were there any highlights for you from this carpet? Was there anything that stuck out that you sort of remembered and thought, oh, that was a nice moment, or that was a funny moment? There must be one, Jay. Come on, please.
I really liked JJ's outfit with the paper boats.
Okay.
I thought that was really cool.
It's a really nice detail, isn't it?
Yeah.
Actually, clever. I hadn't noticed that yesterday. I think we can officially take JJ out of our man wearing suit category because this is really cool. It was also nice to see Taya with him on the carpet too. Robbed in 2023. It's nice seeing some of the people like sharing their personal things. I saw Gabri Ponte signing a little child's plushie. That was cute.
Aww.
There you go. The thing is these little human interactions. And I think actually this is the thing, is that artists, a lot of stuff is really set. A lot of stuff is really laid out for the artists, and you see that it's understandable at this event. You have managers, you have press people, everything's being really strictly, metered. And it's like Remember Monday said in the interview, the only time you really get to yourself, the only sort of unscheduled time is when that hotel room door closes and you're, going to bed or whatever. It's nice for the artists to have some chance for spontaneity. I think the one thing the carpet does in this instance was creating a chance for spontaneity.
Yeah.
When everything is so busy, it's nice to have that. We'll keep moving on. Adam P says, Tommy Cash shouting out Conor McGregor was a highlight for all the wrong reasons. I mean, I thought that was in astonishingly poor taste. And I think everyone has agreed that was in astonishingly poor taste. Cannot believe he did that. I don't really want to focus on it today just because it makes me quite annoyed. And in general, we're trying to look forward to tonight rather than focusing on that, on stuff like that. It's obviously tough. We've forgotten the ultimate highlight, which I'm going to get up on screen. There was one certain man, woman, child, thing that stole the show And it was, I'm trying to find a good photo from yesterday.
Oh my god. Gabe, I'm terrified. I'm so scared.
And courtesy of Vidan Design on Twitter for the photo. It's our great leader in the back of a car like he's the Pope or Kim Jong-un or both.
Kim Jong Pope.
Lumo F. Kennedy in chat. This was... You know what? I'm starting to respect the whole Lumo thing because it's creating so many memes. It's become really recognizable because it's so like, it's so silly, you know?
Okay.
And so I'm kind of starting to enjoy it.
I'm terrified. He's kind of shaped like a fidget spinner.
I think it's meant to be a heart.
Oh.
Although I do find also a bit funny, they've had to cut... you can see that this is how they see out of it. They've had to cut... Someone on my Discord server described this as the Lumussy.
Oh my god.
Someone says, who did Lumo's lip filler? Yeah, I mean, true.
Guys, not the Lumussy. We can't be doing this.
Yeah, exactly. And we've upset Dunder now. Sorry, Dunder. It's... But I'm kind of here for it now. Like, I think to an extent, there's actually a few things with this where I'm like, you know what? This specific thing is just silly and fun, and I think I need to be less cynical about it. I think it's being here in Basel is making me less cynical and more like, let's take it for what it is. I think the Roblox thing as well, I was unnecessarily cynical about it at first, but it's kind of fun, and I've seen people playing with it and so on. It's a nice way to connect with the audience. You know, not everything has to be slick. Not everything has to be, on the money. Steven says he sent me a carpet moment, so I'm going to quickly change my scene so that I don't leak my DMs again.
Again? It happened?
Yeah, it did happen once before I accidentally checked. There was nothing incriminating or anything, but my DMs briefly popped up on a stream once. Right. Let's put this on. I'm not sure what to expect here. I haven't seen this, so I'm just going to play it.
Turquoise.
Are you hungry for more than just music? Here at the village.
They just cut her off. That was...
Oh.
Are you hungry for more than just music?
Oh, the jump scare. Look, again, like, I do want to say, I do mean it all in the nicest way. Obviously, you know, it's... I get that, like, it's just, it's a bit of fun, it's a bit silly. The students working on the production, so that's why I'm deliberately being very, like, easy on that side of things. And I definitely think it's an element they should still keep. But that is funny. That kind of thing is funny. Oh, dear. But yes, Dreamy Star asks, is there any Lumo merch in Basel? I mean, where's the official... Is there an official shop? Because they had one in Liverpool that was separate. I actually don't know where the official merch shop is.
Maybe I'll get my brother a Lumo plushie.
That would be cute. Well, it'd be terrifying. You wake up in the middle of the night, see it, and be like, "Ooh!" There is a Lumo plushie, apparently. There you go.
I'll scare him awake every morning.
Right, we are going to keep pushing on here. There is a... there we go. Right. So, we were going to talk a little more about Semi-Final 1. And we are going to do that with a tab that I have closed and I will find and open. Here we go, Eurovision World. So, you've seen the clips.
Yes.
I presume you've seen the clips.
I have seen the clips.
If I go onto the running order page, I can have them on the watch the rehearsal videos, order by running order. So, we're going to go back to this. And basically, I want you to pick out some of the things that were highlights for you. Very quickly, I want to thank Luna and Elson and Just Mark Master and others who have followed on Twitch. Zolda, Co, Nicole, new YouTube subscribers. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to follow on Twitch. We have loads and loads and loads and loads going on this week. So we want you to be there with us. What I would say is, because I know you need to go soon, and then I'll take the last bit by myself.
Yep.
What were the ones that really stood out for you? Like the clips, whether they surprised you or anything else. What was your favourite parts of this semi-final? I can scroll slowly if you like. And just tell me to stop when you spot something.
Belgium.
All right, let's have a little look. Keep talking, keep going.
I think this is brilliant. If they tighten up some of the angles, I think this is the most they could have done, I think, with this song. Like, the way, the sass, like, it's really good. I was not expecting him to come out with, like, a full choreo like this.
It's very different. I mean, the national final performance was done totally different. Totally different. It was all like, I mean, maybe we'll see some of it still, but I'm sure all of you remember there was all these sharp camera, constant switching, which, I mean, suited the song well as well.
Yeah.
The sort of elevated platform. This is obviously in the middle of the song, what we've seen. It might be that they're holding back some kind of shock, some kind of surprise. But, you know, it's just, it's fascinating to me. And I think it's a relief because it's dispelling people. Okay, someone said Ukraine. Give me a moment. I've got to put something on screen. It's, and I can't believe you guys have already made me do this. It's only Monday.
Is it?
Guys. Someone said this, so I'll bring it up in a minute. But no, I think they've really done well with the staging for Belgium. Now, someone said Ukraine NQ, so you've made me bring up the map. Say it again.
Oh my god.
Say it again. Look at this map and say it again. Say it again. I'm waiting. I'm waiting. There is zero chance. This song would qualify anyway, even if this wasn't the case, right? This would still qualify. But the Ukrainian diaspora obviously helps this song in this case. Now, there's the map. I can't believe I've had to do it. And I do want to say, actually, a big shout out to Ukrainians in chat and to all of you who've been supporting this season. Obviously, it was really fun to do the live stream for Ukraine with Vibe a few weeks ago, and I would love to do some more stuff in future. I have a few things, actually, which I got from Razum for Ukraine, which I'm going to show on stream at some point this week. They have some postcards and stuff, which are really cool. I also think, while this map obviously helps Ukraine qualify, the most important thing to say is, it only looks like this because of Russia's aggression, and I hope beyond hope that every single Ukrainian currently scattered across the continent who has fled the most awful of situations that no one should have to live through. I hope it is safe for every single one of you to return to your homes very, very soon. Now, we're going to keep pushing on. Ukraine is obviously going to qualify, and we can go back to what we were doing. So, any other clips you liked?
Let's have a look. Albania,
I knew
of
you'd talk about this. Tell me what you liked about it. I talked about this yesterday. I love it too.
The split between
red. The color is red, Jay.
Like,
this is red, and this one's white and black.
I thought it was golden white. Sorry.
Okay, just keep going. No,
okay.
Don't make it dress me. That's like 10 years ago. You're dating yourself terribly. You sound older than me. Continue. Why do you love this rehearsal clip? Why do you love this song?
It's like, it's giving two stories, kind of, you know? Like, you got I watched Gotham's video.
Make sure to subscribe to ESC Gotham if you haven't already. Now, continue.
It's like the roundness of, like, and the red on one side, and then, like, the sharp, pointy on the white side. It's kind of giving their two sort of personalities, kind of.
Like, it's very different sort of styles. And I think the thing is what they really needed to do. The big question for me was, how do they integrate Kola into this performance? How do they make him work on stage? I don't know how he's going to be singing his verse. He's oriented towards Beatrice in his own space in a way that separates him nicely. It creates this kind of alternate zone, this alternate universe, which is really fantastic.
Yeah.
Stephen says, yes, circles around and squares are pointy. This is the kind of insight that, this is why we bring him here. We need this kind of high level insight.
This is why I don't do the interviews.
No, listen, I'm sure we could prep you nicely and you'd do a great interview, I'm sure. But anyway, like, this is, it's just really wonderful the way it's been put together. And I'm now more confident. Obviously, we haven't seen the spoken word verse yet. We'll see it tonight.
Yes.
But there's going to be lots and lots of things we're going to see tonight, which is really exciting. We're going to hear from in the arena, and we're going to share that with all of you. They're triangles. No, they're not triangles. Look, you can see like on the background here, you can clearly see 4 sides. So they're squares or diamonds or something, or oblongs. It's a great shape name. I've always loved the word oblong.
Yeah, no.
But at some point, right, why is it at a certain age you're not allowed to call them oblongs anymore and you have to call them rectangles? They squeeze every little bit of joy out of our life. I'm really going off to... Anyway.
Wait, did you call them oblongs before?
Well, when I was like 5, yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I just always called them rectangles.
Well, I think they taught us oblong because they were like, it's a funny, it's a nice funny word, like rhombus. Someone said rhombus. In chat, frock, rhombus.
What's actually called a parallelogram.
A parallelogram. Parallelogram, that's a cool shape. Now, anyway. Anthology says, Albania will shock win as long as every Eastern European country NQs and flops. Then, this might be unpopular. They're not going to win. They're going to do really well. I think they are going to do really well. And I think top 10 is definitely happening, or is very likely to happen. Any more shapes you want to name? Dodecahedron.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
It's always, please, not rhombusy. Stop that. You did not. I'm so done. Anyway, I'm so done with this. Like, I've lost control. I've lost control. Intelligent oblong project.
Oh.
God, dear oh dear. Oh. Right, let's keep going. It's, as I was saying, I think it could get into the top 10. I think it's going to have a decent televote. It's going to have a decent jury score. Like James was saying before you were here, I think it's quite balanced. That means it's difficult. If you're getting a lot of 3s and 4s from both sides, you're not going to get right up the top. You'll do well. You'll get points from almost anyone. But I just think it has the chances to push it up. What's your reasoning for including the Netherlands in the recent video, but not Albania? I think Albania's peak performance is lower than the Netherlands in terms of the results. The Netherlands, at its very best, could have really jumped up to the top of the jury vote. I think, remember, that video was done before rehearsal started, and the narrative around the Netherlands has been dictated by one bum note in one rehearsal, which is just such an overreaction. I think we're going to see a correction once we have, tonight, and the press come back and, say, well, how did we feel about it? I believe we'll have a press poll this afternoon, actually, from the first rehearsal of people who are in the room. I'm not sure, but there'll be one today.
Yes, there'll definitely be one for the jury show.
Yeah, and I think so. People are maybe a little less enthusiastic now than they were. We'll see what happens. Now, I believe you have to go soon because you are going to the jury show. Is that correct?
Yes, and we haven't checked in yet. Well, we literally came straight here from the airport.
This is true. The thing is, you had time. You knew I was out interviewing people. I got a message at like 12 being like, hey, we're outside your flat. And I was like, I'm not going to be there for 45 minutes. I'm about to sit down with Tautumeitas. I can't help you right now. In any case, Jay, we're going to see you plenty this week. I believe we're seeing you tomorrow and Wednesday.
Yes.
So, good luck and take care.
Fire.
We will set up. Jay will be feeding back from the room. He is our correspondent on the ground. If you see Lumo, say hi.
If I see Lumo, I'm running.
No, you have to take a photo with him. I'll show it on screen if you take a photo
Okay,
with him.
fine.
Right. But for now, I am going to say thank you for coming, and also please bring me a glass of water before you leave.
Okay.
Thank you. You
Bye,
should have seen, because
guys.
yesterday I had to take a break from stream to quickly go get water and go to the toilet. When I came back, everyone was like, that toilet break was too short. Did you wash your hands? And I was like, yes, I did.
Gabe is a very efficient person. Mm-hmm. He was probably doing both at the same time.
No, obviously not. Thank you very much.
The third mysterious figure.
So today we have today we've got a whiskey glass. No. Also, I want to say shout out to my friend Adam, who's also here, who's helping off screen. We've got some artists and guests who are going to be coming here and joining us live on the stream. Adam is going to be getting them in, getting them out, offering them coffee.
Someone just said piss goodbye.
This came up yesterday. Yeah. Piss goodbye.
No. Okay, that's my
And on
cue
that
to
note, piss, leave.
Bye, guys. See you tomorrow.
Bye, Jay.
Bye.
It is lovely to have him back as always. We have plenty more to do on the stream. What I'm going to do now is I am going to get up our next interview because, of course, Tautumeitas sat down with me this morning as well. Again, super fun to speak to them. I'm just going to find it for us now. this one, if you guys want to know, you know how the stream was like a bit delayed, and then I said like, oh, it's going to be 40 minutes, it's going to start at 45 instead of 30, and then I was like, actually, it's going to start, and then it started later than that. It's because when I exported this, it was so overexposed for some reason, and so we've had to rethink it. But here we go. Does it work? Can I actually not hear it again? Is it seriously doing this again? Right. For whatever reason, the headphones are getting super temperamental. There we go. That is working. So, where they pulled lights out of my ears, which was most fun, and we had a nice discussion about paganism and everything else, which of course we will get to today. But firstly, I've been watching your rehearsal clip, I've been seeing the photos, I'm looking at the costumes. The vibe seems to be a little bit more mysterious, a bit more dark, sort of foreboding. Was that a deliberate choice? And how did you sort of look at the national final and go, okay, we want to change this and this?
Well, we knew already from the beginning that we will elevate everything on the Eurovision stage. So the costumes were designed for especially national selection. And just the day after we won the national selection, Supernova, we started to create the new outfits, the new costumes, just to spread, just to tell the message more and more precisely and more artistically.
And speaking of that those costumes, I was watching a video by my friends Overthinking It, and I'm going to shout them out because this is where I got this information from, which is that, Asante, Sicilia.
That's her.
Hello. See, there we go, because that's how it was phrased in the Overthinking It video. So that's right. So Aurelia, you design a lot of the costumes in the past, and and obviously that goes back to your background in art and so on.
Yeah.
How heavily were you involved with that process this time?
I wasn't quite designing them, but I was overlooking the process, and from Tautumeitas' side, I was responsible that this will work or this doesn't work. So yeah.
And it all came together. It's very sort of I like how there's this kind of little bit almost of kind of anger, sort of warrior kind of. We've gone from sort of sunshine fairies to warrior fairies.
Not really. But that's only one short part you have seen from the rehearsal. So there will not be so it will be different. Yeah, it will be different. We graduate more these sides, but there will be two worlds. There will be dark side and the sunny side in our performance. Yeah, now we have shown you just a little bit. So yeah.
And also,
I want to highlight for a moment. They're implying something here, that there's some kind of surprise coming. The fact that they're the fact that it was about the costumes and they were like, that's not all. I wonder if we're seeing something. Obviously, now this is just conjecture. This is just speculating. That big curtain would make it easy to do some kind of costume shift. I'm just saying.
We look a bit more dramatic, but it's just to show that we are so serious to bring awareness of Latvian culture, and we're so serious to bring happiness to you. You want it or not?
We're very serious.
We're really serious girls.
No, for sure. I mean, in general, Latvian folk music, I've been looking into it. This is a bit of a weird left turn, but bear with me. And I saw a few years ago, so I'm sure you're familiar with Auli and their work. They did a collaboration with Batarik Vanchik, who's a Mongolian throat singer.
Yes.
Which was every chance to talk about Mongolian folk music, by the way. Every chance I get. It was really amazing. And so I guess the question I wanted to ask was, for you guys, are there these other folk traditions that you look at around the world? Is there anything in particular you look at and think, I would love to work with this? I would love to see how these artists might sort of blend with our music.
We say that we are kind of traditional music geeks. We really love traditional music from all the world. Three of us were ethnomusicologists, and I think we're always open to learn more, to learn new techniques, and we try from time to time bring them into our music. So there are some influences from different kinds of cultures into our music already.
For example, we have Bulgarian music influence in our one particular song. a lot of Ukrainian influences, a bit of also African and Middle Eastern rhythm influences as well. Maybe what else? But as you both said, that's our main passion, just to get those wonderful gems of folk music and incorporate them in our music.
And sort of focusing again on folk, I think in general, my observation is everywhere that often the biggest challenge is getting younger people to engage, to sort of start playing folk music, to keep those traditions going. What do you think in Latvia are the biggest challenges to keeping these traditions alive, and what support do you think it needs, whether that's from government, from other cultural institutions, to make sure that in 50 years' time, in 100 years' time, these traditions are still going strong?
I can start with one thing that we would really love is that people who enter kindergarten, they receive some information, folk songs about Latvian folk, and then at the school maybe a little bit at like the first grades, but then it kind of disappears and there's no connection. And when people meet some folk songs or whatever traditions, they're like, oh yeah, this was like kindergarten material, but it's not folklore is not for children. Yeah. It is.
Just quickly, Stefan says Bulgarian and Ukrainian, then Vesna lyric. That will come up later. Vesna actually come up in this interview, which was really fun. I also, someone said, how much assistance did you bring alongside you? I had a cameraman, the venerable Sam Anna van Dijk from Eurovoix. Let's continue.
Also, but we would like to be more incorporated
in the educational system, because now we just learn the melodies and the very, very basic symbols, but we don't go deeper. We lose the sense of the rituals, traditions, all that stuff. And also, like you mentioned, also in the governmental position, in the ministries, it's also very important. Of course, who receives more money, who is more promoted, what events are organized in the city. It all just comes together.
Yeah, we want from media point of view that also, to represent that being a part of folklore group or just singing traditional songs or playing instruments, to make them these things more prestige, because now it's like
media is all about titles and clickbaits, and folklore disappears. It's not a TikTok format. But then again, maybe we can also try, as we do already, make it more catchy and interesting for younger people.
Actually, since the beginning, we had like this mission. We felt this mission that we want to bring young people towards folk music, and we saw that mix traditional music with modern vibes is one way to do it, because people see our music, they feel the vibe, they feel the beats, and then they're, but it's traditional music, and then they go deeper from this upper level, they go deeper, and there are many people who have gravitated toward our music, and we feel really blessed and happy.
I mean, this is kind of the beauty of Eurovision in some ways, is because that's how I started listening to folk music 10, 12, 14 years ago. You start from, there's a gateway, and once you go through it...
Yes, exactly.
And do you feel like it's a community? It's like a welcoming and very deep and interesting community.
I mean, this is the great thing about folk music as well, is it's so open-minded. Everyone wants to be challenged. Everyone wants to engage with new things, new cultures, and every time you do, it's kind of like something new, like another kind of little piece of gold dust. I mean, I'm sure you guys, and I'd love to hear a couple of examples, if any come to mind, have certain artists or certain things where you've listened and just gone, oh wow, like that is incredible, like when it comes to that folk space. And I mean, some of the artists that you've worked with in the past, for example.
Like definitely our main inspiration in the beginning was the Ukrainian group Dacha Bracha. They showed us how amazing you can use folk music and experiment with it. What we admire, they play only folk instruments on the stage without a lot of electronics, and it works so well. People are dancing in the concert halls to their music and their voices and just the creativity they bring. So yes, when we started 10 years ago, they were our example how to cross borders and get out of this traditional style of performing traditional music.
And so, going forward, once this whole circus is over this week, and I'm sure it is just the most fun but exhausting experience, I imagine, once you had maybe some time to sleep, what's the next thing? You know, you've got all this momentum, you've brought in all these new fans in, you know, all across Europe. What are your plans for the summer? What are you going to be doing for the next 6, 12, 18 months?
Right, thanks for asking. We actually released album 2 weeks ago. So we have new music to show people, and we are arranging concerts, and we will go different countries as well. But
our
the main
album name is Under the Solar Spell. So
and you can listen to it in Spotify and every other streaming platforms. And we will have a really great concert in summer solstice night.
Don't worry.
It will be a special one. We started this tradition. We want to call it tradition because we know we will continue it last year.
Just to be clear, there was basically, when I exported the file, there was a problem with the camera in those 10 seconds. Don't worry, it wasn't the screen breaking. Everything's fine. Although for a minute I was like, oh no, the screen.
We started it. There will be a great concert before sunrise, and
2 a.m. at night.
On the Hill 4th, so next to Daugava, and in a kind of sacred place for Latvians in Aizkraukla, and it will be just a magical experience for everyone. There will be songs and rituals and everything blending together. So
also we have released a new song with Czech group Vesna.
Vesna,
and we might be singing it together somewhere.
Stay tuned.
Follow Vesna and Tautumeitas social media.
I was going to ask, that was one little question I wanted to ask before we wrap up, was actually about that collaboration, which was, I mean, I look at it and I'm like, yeah, this makes total sense, right? And you were talking about, for example, the Bulgarian, Ukrainian influence. You know, Vesna is a very sort of pan-European group bringing all these different influences together. But how did you first get in touch, and how did that collab come about?
They reached out for us because it's their idea. They are creating this wonderful, wonderful album, female anthems. So they are inviting different female groups or soloists from different countries to collaborate with them to create songs together and sing about all those important things that we share as females. So we also were one of them that they asked, invited. We had a Zoom call, and it was amazing. Just when we first met in the Zoom, we felt like, oh my God, we know what you're talking about. We are friends. We have the same difficulties.
We share same values.
So we created the song together, and although we created the song in a distance, it was the easiest collab song that we have ever done, because it was just went so natural and it made a lot of sense. So yes, we have this wonderful, wonderful song that we like really much, and hopefully soon we will perform it live with Vesna.
Well, and they actually found us through Eurovision when our Latvian group Sudden Lights participated at Eurovision on 2023.
In the same year as them,
when Vesna, Sudden Lights said like, hey, do you know our Latvian group Tautumeitas? You're like very similar, so that's how it started.
Well, I remember there was a quote that stuck out, and I think this is the perfect place to wrap up, because I think in many ways it can apply to you guys too. I remember seeing some footage of the Latvian commentator in 2023 being like, we can be so proud of Southern Lights. This is such a wonderful representation of us, of our culture, of our country. And I think it's very clear to me, both from the fact that the Latvian public chose to send you here, and the way in which you're expressing music, that Latvia is very proud of you guys, and we, folk fans like me are very proud and excited too. So I wish you luck on Thursday and on Saturday, where I will be seeing you. Otherwise, I will be on the news.
Yeah. Thank you.
And I look forward to seeing that show with Vesna and with others all across the summer.
Thank
you so much.
And listen to the album, or else.
Longer
Or else.
music.
So there we go. That's what I was up to this morning. Those two things are the reasons why we were delayed this morning in starting today's stream. I hope you agree it was super worth it. It was super interesting to speak to them again about some of their influences, about some of their different things that have come together. There's going to be more interviews as we go through the week as well. So we are going to keep moving forward because the afternoon rehearsal has now started. This is the rehearsal that's not even available in the press room. It's only for people in the room, but we are getting updates in. We have people there speaking to us, bringing information in. So I'm going to go over some of the acts that have been performing while we were watching that interview. The first thing is all of Vibe's visuals, all of them are Minecraft themed. And there is at one point a dancer swimming across the LED floor. They've upgraded their boat. They apparently sound great. Everything seems to be coming together for them at the minute. It sounds like a really, really positive piece of news on that one. So that's what's happening there, which is very exciting. There is a boat. They're swimming. I think it's everything we expected from them. I'm really excited to see what's on that LED floor and whether that volcano changes at all. We're going to look into some of the live blogs in a bit. We're going to look across what all the different sites are saying, try and aggregate some of that together for you, get as much details for you here as possible. And of course, later we will have video from the arena, which is shot from fans. Here's the crazy thing. Accredited press can't show more than a very brief, 10 seconds of jury show footage from shot inside the arena. That doesn't apply here for obvious reasons. So we might be able to be a little bit looser with that. I'm not going to completely take the P here, but there's going to be some things that are described that we're going to want to see. I'm going to try and find videos of those for you tonight. I'm going to try and show you some of those things tonight to give you the first look at that anyone's going to get. Everyone who is in the room seems to have really enjoyed that. Everyone was really impressed. Then, going forwards to Gaia and Clement, who followed, we will... so Gaia, apparently, it's overwhelming but cool, loud, intense, messy, fire, apparently. Fire, dragons, all this kind of stuff. We're going to get some details up now because I want to tell you a little bit more about this. The live blogs are live blogging and we will get all of the details for you. I have to say I'm still pretty surprised how close Slovenia is in the qualification sort of stakes at the moment. We've got, I think we'll see more from today. So, with Gaia, that was what we'll be focusing on right now. I'm opening up a bunch of tabs right now. You can't see it because it's on my second screen. I'm getting all of the live blogs out to give you as much detail as possible, and I will sort of combine it all together where I can. And of course, I will give credit to each outlet for where I've been getting the details from. And we will go up and get these. So we have Aussie Vision, Eurovoix. Let's have a little look at ESC Tom, good friend of the channel, ESC United as well. We'll have all these up here. So let's talk about Poland, and I will go to the screen so you can see the tweets on screen, so you can actually see what I'm looking at as well. So blue backdrop with some sort of moon, 4 pillars appearing, whirlpools on the floor, big notes. So basically, it's loud. It's everywhere. There's pyro. There is seemingly about 7 or 8 or 9 different things going on at any given time, which is kind of what I wanted, because for this, it's so loud and so busy that, but if you have someone like Justyna Steczkowska who can sell it, all of a sudden it starts really working. And you it improves it dramatically. Again, it's, that's what everyone is highlighting, is the glitter, the capes, the anger, which is basically what I expected. We'll obviously get more this evening. The great thing this evening is we get to see that TV feed in the press centre. People will be feeding out from the press centre, and we will understand so much more. We will start getting videos as well popping up this evening. Aussie Vision and Eurovoix as well, very enthusiastic. And Aussie Vision is where we're going to start for Slovenia as well. We have a beautiful starscape backdrop, but also this is something a few people have highlighted, and you'll see this on the other blogs we look at in a minute. The first verse using that actual real family video and pictures on screen. And that potentially is, it's all pitched towards that same outcome, those same voters who are going to try and emotionally connect with this. I think they're right to recognise that in order to maximise it, that's what they have to be doing. And yes, obviously, he gets hoisted upside down again, as we know. I still think it has no chance of qualifying. I know it's sort of on the verge at the minute. Some bookies have it in, some have it not. I just can't see it at all right now. And I mean that with all respect to Clement. I can't see any way in which it goes through. I don't think the song's interesting enough. I think it's heartfelt, it's nice, but it's just a little too boring. Just going to drink some of my water out of this. Is a Jack Daniel's whiskey glass. Very nice. I don't think it's sneaking through, personally. And there's a lot of people saying otherwise, but there we go. We are going to go on to Estilau. I know we're speeding through this a little bit at the minute. We're just trying to catch up as much as we can. And then we will go more slowly later on. Now, Tommy Cash. This one is... there is a surprise which they've hidden in here. They're doing a kind of... And I've had some people message me directly to tell me about this. They're doing a kind of audience member being like, please, can I come dance? I don't know if they're actually saying it or not. But a quote-unquote audience member comes on stage and starts dancing. And they sort of do stuff with the security and so on as well. There's like a coffee whirlpool on the stage that he's, in. Presumably, I guess that might be when they do the lift in the last bit and he's spinning. That would fit with that. You've seen that at the national final already. But it looks like some of the graphics, some of the visuals have been elevated. This is interesting because this is what I've been hearing past couple of days in the bubble as well, was that there was a general impression that his visuals may have elevated in some way on the LED. And so while the onstage personnel and so on stays the same, we get something a little different here. We'll keep going through what others say too. And there's the, again, it's as I've just described. I've talked about the whole thing. We're just going to have to move on. This will be much easier later when we have a little more information. So, Melody does an on-screen, that would suggest a costume change. I want to check with other outlets if that's actually the case. Here we go. Okay, right. So there is a kind of reveal, like from the silhouette into the silver dress and all the rest. And then, the podium thing and the pyro curtain, which we saw in the clip. Here's the thing. And I said this yesterday. I'm just stretching my back, by the way, because my posture on this sofa is utterly terrible. So you guys will have to forgive me if I'm a little less leaning forward than I usually am. The problem here is that pyro, combined with the way she's dressed, combined with the whole aesthetic of the staging, totally blitzed her out. You couldn't see her. She was surrounded by light and stuff, and it was just too much. And she's not the only one with this problem. I think there's others too. I just think it's a little. I don't think it's come together. Is what I'm getting at. I didn't like the revamp. I preferred it before they revamped it. But yes, I'm keen to hear on your thoughts. By the way, of the first few songs, I'm going to be highlighting some talking points in chat shortly. We are getting towards the front. Sweden is on at the moment, so we'll come to that in a moment. I will continue to defend Ukraine. I will continue to defend Ukraine no matter what. And we will go down on the thread. So there we go. The Ukrainians are doing something which... So the 30-second clip gives a good idea of it. I'm curious to see these things. We have seen these descending lights this year, which a lot of people are using. The obvious use of them was bird wings. So I'm kind of unsurprised someone has done it. I'm surprised that more people didn't. I guess because, it's a bird, and I guess sometimes it's fine being literal. I'm really keen to see with this. I was a massive fan of the backing vocalists at the national final, and I thought those high notes were really, really beautiful. With that in mind, I don't know if they're going to be on stage. I don't know if I saw them in that clip. I really hope they're on stage and they get to have a moment on stage, at least at some part of the performance, especially given what they've gone through. For those of you who didn't see, one of the backing singers lives in Pokrovsk in eastern Ukraine, and her apartment building was bombed in the last 2 weeks. So it's been a very difficult time, and I hope she gets a moment on stage. Right. Now we can take a breath. We've just had an absolute whistle-stop tour to catch up, and now we can focus on this quote from my good friend Roy over at ESC United. The sausage is very visible at the start. So what we're saying is the significantly larger sausage forms a part of the developed package. Apparently Vibe made 4 YouTube shorts since the stream started. We'll come to those later. Of this song. More pyro. Looks like just a development of previous. Let's see what's going on over at the Eurovision one. I'm just trying to spot extra details on these. We can also, postcard locations are in this as well. That is not very descriptive. We'll come back to Eurovision later. Maybe there'll be, because I know they've got multiple people in the room and stuff, so they might add some more details. So we will come back to them later. It is a very developed package. The odds, of course, have been very positive on Sweden, but just shaken ever so slightly in the last few days. It was interesting talking to Ben at the start of this stream and having him saying, actually, he doesn't think it's as likely that they'll win now. But if you look at the odds, this is since the start of the stream, the odds have shortened on Sweden to win. So, I still think, obviously we have less inputs this year, but I still think that they are going to be winning comfortably, in my opinion. So, I'm going to quickly look into chat. I'm going to see if we can get some of the questions out. Can you please share your thoughts on the 3-way qualifiers? So, I know for a fact I'm going to give credit where it's due. I believe ESC Discord confirmed this, so let's look them up now. There we are, ESC Discord. Here we are. So, 9 qualifiers, countries will be called in sets of 3 via a split screen with 1 qualifying at a time. The final qualifier will be announced as normal. So this is, it's difficult. The key, whoops. Well, as you saw there, I went to the wrong scene. It's a tough balance, okay? Because I wouldn't agree that there's been some suggestion that it's in some way unpleasant for the welfare of the artists The thing is, right, I think everyone's pretty tense anyway. I think they're still going to be tense, in this format too. The question, I think, is more about whether it's going to produce a functional show that is sufficiently coherent. I think there's an understanding issue, because it's been a common theme over the years that the public have maybe struggled to fully understand the processes that are happening, especially in the final voting. I think there's going to be a lot of people who will, especially people for whom English isn't their first language, they're going to hear the first split screen, they're going to hear 3 country names, and they're going to go, oh, all 3 of those countries qualified. And I just don't think it's a good way of approaching it. I suspect that it's going to be a little bit one of those ones where we see it for 1 year. I think they'll evaluate it afterwards and probably go, hey, maybe this didn't quite work, so we're going to change it around. I'm not necessarily opposed to these kinds of experiments, but, I think this is one that's not going to stick. And someone says, yes, but someone will end up being on 3 split screens and still not qualifying. It's horrible. It's obviously not nice, but it's going to be, I think this is the thing. Not qualifying is devastating. Not qualifying is devastating whether you have hope or not. You have hope, and you're always hoping your country name is going to be said anyway. Like, I just really don't think that it's going to make a huge difference to how they're feeling. The most important thing is they're with their teams, and they're with people around them. That's the main thing. It's not going to be that ridiculous people on stage concept that they had in 2023. I'm very glad they scrapped that. So yeah, let's see how things go. Someone says, I have an idea. We have 9 qualifiers and the 10th will be chosen with different televoting between just those countries. That would be a bad idea because it would give away who finished 10th in the semi-final. That would influence the way people voted in the final. There is a strong element to people's voting patterns that often many people will vote for things that they think are going to do well anyway. So they vote for their favourite of the favourites. That's why you got clustering around things like Cha-Cha-Cha, for example, Rim Tim Taggy Dim. People more than ever have more information going into the shows about who's going to do well, even if they haven't heard the songs. You have commentators saying, this song and that song are among the favourites. So I disagree with that idea. I think it will have a negative effect on their votes in the final. So let's see. Now, we're going to keep moving forward. The show is still going on. Portugal have taken to the stage. We'll take a little look at what everyone is saying about that. Minimal is what I'm hearing about the staging, and it's what ESC United here have said. It sounds, to be honest, a lot like what we've seen in the 30-second clip for the whole thing. It's tough because it's such a sweet song. And I love listening to it, like, just when I'm going about my day, right? Hello, Gotham, it's lovely to see you. But at Eurovision, tough. Jay was talking about the Love Is On My Side upgrade. I think we needed something like that here too. We're going to take a little look and make sure all of these guys, give them, make sure to follow Tom on Twitch if you haven't already. There we go. I mean, that's the key thing from Tom. My big ask was that they explained the song with the visual. They haven't done that. There we go. Charlie, I just spoke about the new qualifying announcement system. Just skip back like 5-7 minutes. You'll get a whole segment on that. We've just done that. Yeah, I agree with Tom's assessment. And everything that people are saying says that too. Unfortunately, not much more beyond what we've already seen. Now, we're going to keep pushing forward. Norway has been on stage. I presume the cliff-like structure is going to be the same one we saw in the national final. I will show you that on screen so you have some idea of what it is we're dealing with. I'll just get the video up. So, Kyle Alessandro Leiter, there it is. Just so you know what we're talking about here when we say a cliff-like structure, given how much they will have paid to build this, I'm pretty sure this is what we're going to be seeing again. Because this kind of thing, it's not cheap. Unless it's made of styrofoam. I don't know. Maybe I'll ask him that if I can see him later in the week. I'll try and interview him Wednesday or Thursday. I'll email his press guy. So I imagine we're getting something very similar to this, just upgraded. What I really hope they keep, and I guess we won't see that until this evening, was this shot, the crowd-oriented dance break. Obviously, the audience will be a little more alive at Eurovision. I think it will look really, really, really cool. So I'm excited for this. I think we're basically going to get the same thing. Super reliable, one of the least mysterious performances. Lots of pyro. Camera angles are important. Hopefully this suggests what I've just been describing. We've reached that time, everyone, where I need the toilet again. So what I'm going to do is exactly what I did yesterday. Simon, yes, it does. I am going to quickly go to the toilet, and in the meantime, you'll all have to entertain yourself for a couple of minutes, behave, and I will be right back with you. So piss, goodbye, and see you in a moment. I accidentally muted my microphone. So the thing is because I can mute the microphone on the microphone, and because I was paranoid when I went to the toilet, I did that. But yes, it was not a poison cake, to be clear. So we're going to continue with our analysis. Our following of the rehearsals. Lots of fan sites are in there right now. We're keeping a close eye on all of their live blog. So, I've just received a message, and it is regarding the one and only Red Sebastian from Belgium. And what the message says is 3 words: fucking great staging. Fucking great staging. He is alone until the first chorus, and then after that, the others are on stage. Apparently, bold choices, it's paying off. There's a shot with him interacting with himself on the LED floor. And the choreography apparently is just insanely well done. What I'm hearing is, this is visually so interesting. It could be top 10 on Saturday. So many great choices, and they used the frame stage, that big weird box, better than anyone so far. This is what we wanted to hear. I'm so relieved. This is what we wanted to hear. These guys, Belgium, because of a couple of the 2 upsets, like, the Senec and the Musty results, I think there's some, trepidation, right? People are sort of worried that they're going to be, caught out, proven wrong, whatever. We should remember, though, that this is a song that's 5th in the odds to win the contest right now. It would be really cool to see how high it can go because we love to see a climber. Is this the Sergio Hyen effect? Well, Sergio Hyen didn't work on the staging, so I don't think so. We'll keep bringing the updates. It actually looks like we've beaten some others to this one because I just refreshed some of the feeds and there's nothing about it yet. But it sounds like this is the highlight so far. This is the one that has elevated above everyone else. ESC Tom, I don't know what this means, but I will show you anyway. What does "there was some goopery" mean? Goopery. But yes, as I say, Tom agrees with my assessment, with the assessment of the people who are feeding back to me directly, who are in the room. This was the most wow so far, and the audience reacted as such. There we go. So Tom was gagged. Let's see about the others. We're going to see over on ESC United. We'll give them a minute. Let me grab that Aussie Vision one back up as well. Big shout out to Aussie Vision. I honestly think one of the very best outlets out there. And the amount of detail. Here we are. Goosebumps at the vocal. Goosebumps. And goopery is what Tom's way of saying he was gobsmacked. Okay, got it. Thank you for that. So, goosebumps at the vocal. That is what we're saying. So basically, based on that impression, they've gotten everything right. They have gotten everything right. Next up is going to be Italy. We will wait for some information. I'll see if I can get some details for you. I'm going to ask for some. The initial feedback didn't look massively positive on the staging, but I guess we'll have to see. I'm really curious about the harmonica because Lucio has been talking about wanting to play harmonica on stage. It'd be really fascinating about whether that's something that the EBU have allowed him to do. They've said, well, you can pretend to play the harmonica on stage, but you can't actually do it. We will see. But we will keep pushing forward. I'm just waiting for a little more. Okay. So, lyrics subtitled. We knew about this. I've got a few more details for you now. The lyrics are subtitles. He's got these two massive amps on stage. We saw those in the rehearsal clip. He's totally static on stage, apparently. He stands still. It's just him singing it. But he does have the harmonica. Unfortunately, and I've got several different people. I'm trying to build a consensus perspective, trying to bring in what different people are saying here. The line that I'm getting is, this is not going to do well. He's just here to perform. Now, whether that will be the case or not, I personally, I would like to hope that this would do quite well because I think it's a sweet song and I find Lucio quite sweet. But it sounds like they've kept it very straight down the line. The simplicity could work. I mean, they've come just after Belgium, which is... And obviously, they're already in the final, but it might make an impression on the people watching. We'll have to see whether it's the same in the final. It needs things. For that kind of thing to work, I'm guessing it's going to need stuff that's really, really big and dramatic and sort of all over the place. Like if it was between, I don't know, Poland and Belgium, and you had Italy in the middle between those two, it'll help. Televote will be a struggle as well. I'm just going to thank everyone who's helping me out, just to encourage them to keep sharing details, because this is very, very much helpful to be able to bring all of this to you from people who are in the room. I think the subtitle font is still the same, by the way. So I will thank them. There we go. So, we'll see what our other outlets have had to say. Let's see if there's been some updates. So first, we're going to go to Aussie Vision, who are equally worried as, some of the other things that as some of the other people who've been reporting back to me have said. They're not sure about this at the moment. Nothing yet from Tom. I'm sure we'll see soon. I think the thread might have broken for ESC United if we haven't had any posts in a little while. There we go. Yes. So big piano. Starts on the piano, comes out, sings on the walkway, and plays the harmonica. It's interesting. People might like seeing someone play an instrument on stage. That could be very, very effective. A couple more tidbits for you, things I've been hearing. There is a Dustin the Turkey joke that happens at this point, and they throw a Dustin the Turkey plushie into the crowd. So position yourself well in the standing section and be ready with your catching hands, because Dustin the Turkey is going to be making his way to you, possibly towards your head at high speed. We are going to quickly refresh. I doubt the odds have changed in the few minutes. No. The only thing that's changed here is it looks like the Zifferblatt odds have broken over on Epic Bet. I don't think that they're 0-1 to win the contest, although I'm sure they'd be delighted with that. And it looks like, poor Iceland have slipped back down again. They were jumping up briefly into 32nd, which was really fun. Now, let's see what we have coming up next. Still to come, the following: Azerbaijan, San Marino, Albania, Netherlands, Croatia, Switzerland, Cyprus. Thank you so much, MyJew, by the way, for that subscription. I just saw it. It's massively appreciated. All of your support means the world to me, not just from you, but from everyone watching the streams, engaging across all platforms. You know, this is, especially being in the position I'm in now, where, you know, I would really love to do this stream a couple of hours later. I'm not going to talk. I've been deliberately not talking much about not having press accreditation this week, because I do just want to surge forward and get on with it. I do, you know, really wish I could have done these streams in a slightly different schedule, where I'd gone to that rehearsal, rushed out, come back here, told you everything about what I see myself. But I really hope, you know, we're getting all those details anyway. We're getting all of that stuff coming through. I really want this experience to be as, you know, similar for all of you watching and supporting me as it would be if I was in that room. I don't want to let it get me down. So I really appreciate all of your support. Henry says, are there going to be videos, and to where? The answer is yes. There's going to be a video on Wednesday and a video on Friday. We're going to go through the headlines of each semi-final is the plan. So it should be pretty fun. You know, things that stick out, shock non-qualifiers, shock qualifiers indeed. Those are going to come out the day after the shows in each case, which is very exciting. That's actually going to be a super busy 24 hours, because I will have streamed in the afternoon on Tuesday and Thursday, watch the show, come back before the results, watch the results here, write the script immediately, film it immediately, do all the editing, hopefully finish that probably 1 a.m., 2 a.m., do as much editing as I can, wake up, finish it in the morning, be back on stream at 1 o'clock here in the afternoon with the video done and uploaded. So that's what we're going to do. Are there going to be extra clips? I don't believe there are going to be extra clips now. The next thing you will see is the full live show tomorrow, plus things from the room tonight. There will be some videos in the room that we can show you on stream. Now, we are going to keep going. I've received a message. You will all enjoy this. The Jeg gets a mention. The famous Jeg from last year gets a mention, because they do a piece midway through the show. Just bear in mind, we are at this point, so just after Italy here. They do a sort of VT about different props in Eurovision history. Iconic props, which obviously includes the Jeg. We're still waiting for the next song. We haven't yet seen any sign of Azerbaijan, but I'm sure they will be along shortly. In the meantime, I have to say, the thing that's really stuck out from this rehearsal so far is the positivity surrounding Belgium. Everyone was excited. Every single person was excited, and that is a really, you know, good thing to see. You know, the doubts and everything else that some people have had, we've managed to avoid that here. Hopefully we will soon be getting more updates from the remainder of the show. We're already 2/3 of the way through, bear in mind, and things seem to be going pretty well, because I believe the show has been going for an hour and a half. So I think an hour. Things are going to plan. Now, Azerbaijan is up The first comment I see from ESC United: the intro's a tad long. It's never a good sign if you're starting out in that position. Dancing silhouettes in the background. I think the problem was when I saw this, and you guys have seen the clip too. It's busy, right? It's very busy. It's very overwhelming. I just find it a little bit much. And as an aside, as I always do, I will mention now, make sure to watch the video I did on Israel and Azerbaijan in the contest and how I feel that they are, exploiting the contest, because that's an important piece of context. No other news just yet from any other outlets. We will wait and see for some more information soon. Now, Pricey Celery says Belgium shot top 10. But if I look at these odds, let me get them up on screen quickly. That doesn't feel like much of a shock to me. They're so high in the odds that I feel like actually there is a conventional wisdom here that says they're going to finish really high up the scoreboard. And I think it wouldn't be a shock at all if this finished in the top 10. I think it has a lot of potential on both sides. Charlie says, is it me or just this look like deja vu from the Red Sebastian, from the Fuego situation? When rehearsals got released, all eyes were on them and all of a sudden odds increased and a new winner was considered. I would say no, because this is not going to win the contest. It's going to do well, it's not going to win the contest. That's not a great line. The ending note wasn't the best in this run. I remind everyone it is a rehearsal, but it's maybe not a great sign. No, Belgium will not win. I know people are starting to say it now, but no. I would love to go to Belgium. I'd love to have Eurovision maybe in Antwerp or Bruges. Or Brussels, of course. But I am not so sure about the chances of that happening. It's a good song. It's not a winning song. Let's get some water quickly. And as always, I'm very pleased that somebody immediately said Tirana 2025. Whenever we talk about the winner, if no one mentions Albania, to be honest, it makes me feel like I'm missing out. Now, let's see. No news yet, just waiting for more news on Azerbaijan. Surely the next performance will shortly be underway. It is just a whisker before the 3-hour mark on this stream. Thank you again for joining. We are waiting on San Marino, and it has just been suggested to me that some of their visuals may be AI generated. Whether that's the case or not, we'll see some of them later and be able to judge better. And apparently there's Michelangelo doing the Italian finger gesture. I presume they mean this one. And blowing bubblegum. Michelangelo blowing bubblegum. Well, if that's AI generated, that would be disappointing because you could probably animate that just fine. Ren Igu says, if VRT win, is it dead set in Flanders then? So the way it works, I think, I'm fairly sure I've read some of it, the Belgian broadcasters have an agreement whereby if they won, the broadcaster that won the contest would also host the next year. Yeah, it would suck if they used AI because it's just pointless in that context, Like, there's no need to use AI, for those kinds of visuals. It's not the expensive part of any performance. And it's not the time-consuming part of any performance. So, we're waiting for some more news. I imagine the song itself is pretty much as we've always heard it. Those singers are... Time G37 says they are 100% using AI. Okay, then. I will point out, by the way, if we're on San Marino now, everyone stay calm, deep breaths. You do realise that we're about to get information about Albania's full performance for the first time. That's minutes away. Minutes away. So, get ready for that. Yeah, I'm hearing more voices now saying the same thing about the AI, by the way, in San Marino. Looks like that one is more likely now. I'm just reloading some of these blogs to have a little look. Again, vocal issues potentially. That could be a problem. We're going to keep zipping forward. Tom, I await your opinions. Here we go. Nothing shocking or jolting here. That is, in my opinion, condemnation by faint praise kind of thing. And I just think it is... I mean, it says it all, doesn't it? I think it's a nothing burger. It's an absolute nothing burger. Now, we await Albania news. Apparently, it's about to start. Albania is rehearsing now, as we speak. Go back to camera only for a moment. I think it's worth reflecting on this season and how we've ended up in this position where you've got such a exciting entry, but also such a storied entry. Because think about what it's like with Albania. We've known about this entry for 5 months. To sustain the hype for 5 months is incredible. And I think it really demonstrates the strength of feeling in the fandom about Zerm and about, also the way in which they've conducted themselves, the way in which they've engaged with the community with such enthusiasm, and the way, just how good the song is. It would be a great story if these guys did so well. They've been an underdog at every stage. They come from a country that doesn't have a tradition of, high finishes. They beat someone like Alvana Jata in the on the way to get there. And may I remind you, if you so wish, if I go all the way back and zoom in on my channel page, I'm going to get a slightly blurred thumbnail. I made a whole video about this right at the start. They have been underdogs and been upsetting things right since day one. And that is what makes me so excited. And now, finally, we get to get a little glimpse of what they've brought for us to the Eurovision stage. Zerm is on right now. I am looking forward to details. What we already know so far is obviously they do this kind of colour thing which separates them. That's a really positive sign. I'm very interested to see how well it works. Hippobed says, if you could handpick one Eurovision city to host, which would you choose? It also says you're a first-time chatter, so welcome to the stream. It's really lovely to have you here. If I could handpick one city, it would be my hometown, Newcastle. I think a lot of people would say the same. It's this thing. Imagine seeing Eurovision in your hometown is such a special experience. I remember speaking to people in Turin about this, speaking to people in Liverpool about this. Although, interestingly, in Malmö last year, I have some friends who live in Malmö, who are from Malmö, and the whole thing, because of all what was going on around it, they found it really difficult. So, apparently some microphone issues. I'm not sure one of them is not working. Apparently it's very intense. Lots of use of the frame, the green room. So having that shot from the back of the arena with the green room frame. I'm really excited to see how they're using that, but apparently there is lots of it. The white blocks on stage are not lit up. And my sources say that feels a little odd, but obviously there's potential that maybe the light didn't work or something. In any case, I thought it looked all right on the clip, so I think it would be fine on TV. 2, we are awaiting more Zerm news. Apparently there's some good close-ups, which is nice to see. The aura is excellent. Lots of pyro at the end. And the lights that come down from the ceiling. Apparently, what I'm seeing and hearing is the way they use the Lego lights, it changes the verse, changes the song every verse. So I'm presuming we're going to be getting maybe slightly different colour palettes, slightly different effects. Maybe that they can move up and down during the performance too. It'd be really cool to see some of that. So overall, final vocals, amazing. That said, not everyone is as enthusiastic. Also comments saying that maybe they could have gotten a little more out of it too. But what I would say is, Zerminators in chat, all of that sounds pretty good. Like, I hear that and it makes me excited. In some ways, I feel good about the fact that I'm going to experience it in full as all of you do on TV, right? And what that means is we're kind of on this journey together. We're in the same boat. We're seeing the same things. We're reacting in the same way. And it means, hopefully, it's like we're sat in a cinema and we're sharing popcorn. I'd share popcorn with all of you. Maybe against my better judgment in some cases. I'd share popcorn with most of you. Literally, imagine I just sit down. I could sit down with all of the, all of the highlights of this chat. Like, I don't know, the guy who always says skibbity pog. I'd take him for a nice Aperol spritz. Is what I'd do. Let's see what others are saying about Zierm. Apparently, there's a Vitruvian Man reference in San Marino, by the way, which is obviously what Cyprus are doing too. We are going to go to main camera. So, Albania. We start with Beatrice on the front stage, walking on the walkway to the geometric shapes on the main section. The build-up to the first chorus has a lot of circular shapes, and it is changing a lot. And obviously, the dance needs a little bit of polishing. That's fine at this stage, and when you see stuff like this, I encourage you all not to worry. There are lots of performances that need polishing. There are lots of delegations, I'm not going to say who, because it's not fair, who 3, 4, 5 days ago were panicking about their staging, who are now like, oh, actually, we've calmed down, we've sorted some things out. We've still got, think about it, another run tonight, another run tomorrow afternoon. Small changes could be made, things will come together more slick. The point of these rehearsals is to eliminate the little technical gaps. As an example, before Slovenia, in this very rehearsal, we had a 20-second or so delay because the prop wasn't ready. But this sounds pretty positive. Let's have a look at what Tom is saying, and hopefully Tom, we'll get him on the stream at some point this week. I'd love to hear his insights in person too. Vocals, perfect. Dress, divine. Dead-eyed stare into the distance. They've managed to make it work, but look at those words. Read these words. I think it's time to be excited. Albania's best staging ever. Albania's best staging ever. From the expert himself. If there's one man whose opinion I listen to, it's ESC Tom. Let's have a little look over and see what the Aussies are saying as well. Again, presence, big finish, needs tidying up. That's come up on a couple of times now, so I think we can really add some validity to that. Now, we are waiting for the Netherlands. And, okay, so I have some news in about the Netherlands, and this is obviously significant as I put them in as a potential in my winning video. His voice cracked on the big note. I've just had a couple of people get in touch to say there was a couple of problems here. Again, give him some time, see what they can do in the next 24 hours. We know he can hit the notes. We've seen him hit the notes in multiple performances. Give it some time, but we can't put this one to bed just yet. I think they'll look after him. He's got a vocal coach, I'm sure, with him. They'll take care of it. He then does have some really beautiful shots, and there's some really nice things going on here. He dances with they have a mirror on stage. He dances with his younger self in the mirror. That's a really nice effect. I'm hearing a lot of positive responses on that. And yeah, there's a thing at the start, a sound apparently, that sort of makes everyone snap out and go silent, which is a nice effect. So, the thing I've heard is he needs to fix that note so he has a shot at top 5. And I think if he fixes that note, that could well be the case. If not, going to be in trouble. I really, 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 really want people to... The reason I'm putting these in so many disclaimers, because the last thing we want, right... we want these people to succeed. We want these performances to sound great. We want to report it. We want to talk about it. I don't want to come in and be like, this is going to suck, because that's the totally wrong narrative. And I don't want the narrative going into tomorrow night being, oh, well, they're going to mess up, because instantly that puts you on the back foot, and that's not what I want, especially from a song that I adore. I love C'est la vie. It's so listenable, and I talk it so much. And so apparently the bridge was really off. Let's give it some time. And they have also said it wasn't like Musti where he was off the whole time. Sounds like just a couple of notes. there's still elements of overexcitement that come in as well. People do tend to lock in. They step it up for the final performance. Let's see what happens tonight. We'll have a better idea after that. We'll await some news from some outlets as well. As you can see, we're keeping an eye out. Intimate. Again, it does need to be intimate. No comment on the vocals here. Very dark, very effective. Roses which bloom. The mirror with the boy from the video clip projected. That's great. That's going to be really, really wonderful. Here we go. A miss or two that were noticeable is what rehearsals were for. So that's a slightly more positive version. A slightly more positive version of the same thing. Someone says, have you been outside? It looks really dark in your room. There's a window right here, but because the window is here, I actually have to have it closed during the stream. What you can't see is this is a really light room. I obviously have to really strictly control the lighting. This will look the same in every stream and no matter what time of day. But there's windows over there, there's windows over there. There's a big sort of full-length door window on that side with a cat flap in it. There is a cat that lives in this building that occasionally comes into the flat. I really hope at some point the cat comes on stream because apparently it really likes sitting on the sofa that I'm on right now. So, hopefully, some cat will be apparent on the stream at some stage. So, we have to wait at the moment. One other thing that is being pointed out about the Netherlands, it's when the vocals transition from his lower register into his higher register that the problems are occurring. And it's maybe that the breath control is off, or that it's taking him a little bit to fix into the new register. It's difficult. It's a very difficult skill. Let's see what happens. We're waiting for news now from Croatia. Poison Cake, Marko Bošnjak. We are going to keep powering forward. Obviously, these rehearsals, they happen lightning fast. So there's so much information. So much is going on. I really encourage you guys, make sure, take some time. Go back later, watch the stream back. Go and look at the different feeds that we're using here from all these different fan sites who are in the room. Apparently, wow. So this is a direct quote from someone about Croatia. Camera work is up there with common assault in terms of violence. And the zoom-ins to Marco's face are so terrifying. So it's a bit of a rough one. Let's see what happens. I think this is going to go the way we suspect, which is that this song doesn't really suit Marco, and I don't know whether it's all going to come together. I like the fact that the staging seemed good, but maybe the last minute of this is just a little bit tough. We will have some news firstly. Now, one thing I will say, before we move on about the Netherlands, it's always good to have different opinions. And on the flip side, again, we've been talking about Tom a lot. Tom thought this was beautiful. Tom loved this. And it made Tom cry. So clearly, the story is being told in a way that people are going to get it. Hopefully that will be the case. Now, we have Switzerland still to come, and then we have Cyprus as well. This is going to be an exciting run, because these two, I think there's so many, in different ways, there's so much mystery about the staging. Just quickly, no flag spamming, by the way, not in chat. If you flag spam, I get you're enthusiastic about your country's entry, about whatever entries you're doing, but I want to interact with chat. I want to speak to people. If there's flag spam, it stops us from doing that. So just make sure not to. You will get a 60-second timeout if you flag spam. So I'm waiting for some more news on Marco. I didn't get anything else other than that quick 30 seconds. Going to have a look on the fan sites. As always, look at all the different live blogs. Apparently the smoke machine can be a bit distracting, says Aussie Vision, but I'm just looking see if we can get some more detail anywhere. It's K-Dog. Don't worry, I appreciate you're always here at the live streams, but look, the timings are weird this week, right? We're at all times of the day. Okay, Ramping Guy says, poll us on something, please. €5. Okay, from now on, I will always, if you're willing to give me €5 or €10 or whatever, 100%, you can have your poll. Thank you so much. Let's have a little look. I am going to say what the poll will be, Rampin. You're going to have to wait a few minutes. At the end, I'm going to pick out the 4 songs that I think are most exciting based on the reporting we've had, and I'm going to poll you guys on which one you're most enthusiastic about. I think that will probably be Iceland, Albania, and then I suspect Switzerland and Cyprus might be in there as well. Belgium instead of one of those others. Switzerland is on now. I've just received a 2-word review. Holy shit, is what they're saying. Holy shit. Amazingly well staged in terms of cinematography. It could be on. How high is this going to go? How high is this going to go? That is exciting. That is one of the most exciting messages I've received all day. Geneva 2026, my wallet hopes not. I love Switzerland. I've got to say, Basel is one of the most beautiful cities I've ever visited. I love it here, but it is really expensive, so I'd rather not do 2 years in a row in Switzerland. Aardvark Adver, the jury show is not on. This is the last rehearsal is on now before the jury show. We have people in the room who are feeding back so we can give some details to you guys. Technically, this is incredible, says the word from the room. We're going to try and get some second opinions on this now. I'm just waiting to try and find what people are saying. We're a little ahead, I think, at the moment. Okay. There's some serious levels of excitement. You know, I was saying no on Geneva. A 3-word review from the room. This can win. I'm going to put that into the world because I know that there's Voyage stands in chat right now. This can win. That's what I've been told. The only issue is that it doesn't translate in the arena because it's all on the broadcast feed, right? It's all cinematography. It's all camera work. That is what is elevating this. Obviously, that's not going to come across in the room. That said, is that a big deal? Not really. In the grand scheme of things. It's nice to have the crowd losing their mind, but it's the home entry anyway, so they will do that anyway. It's apparently hugely demanding on the tech side, so I'm guessing a lot of really precise camera shots and so on. That's exciting. That's really exciting. I mean, we haven't seen a double winner in a long, long time. Well, since, I guess, Ireland in the 90s. It'd be curious to see if that's the case. Now, let's... And we have phone lights from the audience towards the end. We're missing a lot of camera angles, so this is the one to watch tonight, okay? This is the one to watch tonight because right now there's no camera feed to the press centre. What we cannot see is the camera angles. We're going to see that this evening, and we will see people giving it their all because this evening is a backup jury performance as well. Apparently, you don't register that it's even in the arena at all until the end, which is pretty incredible. Let's see what happens. Obviously, there's a host curse. I mean, again, Tom has talked about this at length. beg my pardon. I don't know if you can probably tell I'm getting excited now because, again, I mean, this is, in some ways, I'm loving the fact that I'm just experiencing this with all of you. We get to do this together. And it's honestly, it's giving me a lot of joy, just like getting these little scraps out and sharing with you them with you and bringing them all together in this way. We await some more reviews on Switzerland and then, of course, Cyprus as well, still to come. Lots of mystery, I think, shrouded around Switzerland. So apparently there's a whole team of people. I seem to remember seeing it's a one-shot performance. It's a whole team of people around her. So you don't see much of her on stage because she's got all of this, like, the camera. They'll have a camera operator. They will have a spotter. I imagine they'll have some lighting guys and stuff. 2. I look like a kid at Christmas. But this is the thing, right? This is why I started making these videos. I feel exactly the same way that all of you do in this week. I am so excited all the time. It's all I think about. It totally dominates. I remember sitting here 7, 8, 9 years ago, watching the early live streams when they first started happening, listening out for any little bit you could hear in the background. It's so exciting, right? It is so, so exciting. And when you hear something like that, where a bunch of people come back to you, it's amazing. Now, from that to a slightly less complimentary comment on Theo Evan from Cyprus. Cyprus is very well shot, but Theo Evan cannot sing. That's what I've just heard. Apparently he was off the whole time. Again, we are not in the live show yet. It could be different on the night. But if he's out of tune the whole time, that could really change the fate of this. It's going to be really well shot. And I think actually the big triumph of this performance is going to be the way Sergio Hyan has staged it and elevated it. We've all been excited about that. But we were worried about his vocals. Weeks ago, I said this in a video. I said, they're hiding something from us. He's not doing live public performances. He lip-synced at the Greek national final. He sung 2 lines only of his song at the Thessaloniki pre-party. There is a lot of things that were left unknown, and because of that, it was going up in the odds, I think, based on what we did know about the staging, which was really positive. But, yeah, what everyone is saying is the staging is genius, and it's brilliant. But, if the staging's great, but you don't have that bass underneath it of a good vocal. Yeah, the vocals, I'm hearing this back a lot now. The vocals were really not good. And it's very much, like I said, when it's one person saying it, it's one thing. When you have a bunch of people coming back to you in the same thing, then yes, lots of scaffolding. The scaffolding obviously moves a lot. B says, staging is genius, but I'm pretty sure Felin also had scaffolding in Estilal. Felin did have scaffolding in Estilal. It was actually too tall to get through the stage door, so they brought it on in pieces and built it on stage, and then it had to be kicked into shape. The other thing is, right, scaffolding is a device, and they're using it in a different way. This is a much more advanced performance in terms of camera and stuff. It's a thing that's really exciting that Sergio Hyan is pushing the contest forward in, that we saw with Bambi Thug last year. You're getting this new way of thinking with the staging, the camera angles and so on, on a much deeper level, which is very, very exciting. I'm just waiting to hear from some other sites. Vocal good, but a few slight moments. Okay, so not everyone agrees with what we've already heard. And we'll see if Tom... Come on, Tom. I need your thoughts on Switzerland and on Cyprus. We are all waiting for you. But it's very exciting, of course. Just to give you a quick idea of what's coming next, we are not going to finish immediately. I'm going to keep an eye out because we'll have some interval acts in a bit. So we're going to wait for those to happen, and then I will tell you what they are. I'm going to stretch my back because I've been sat on this sofa for 3 hours, 19 minutes, with the exception of my very short piss break. What we are going to do next, I have been, of course, enjoying Basel, and lots is going on here. While we're waiting to hear about the interval acts, I have been very lucky to receive a little gift bag from a local chocolatier, and it's actually really fun, and there's like a Eurovision heart, which has confetti in it, apparently. So we're going to take a little look on that on screen, because it's streamed. Apparently it's edible confetti. I have a few of them here as well. So my thinking is, at some point this week, I'll show you them today. At some point this week, I'm going to give one of these away, and I'm going to send them to you so you can have a Eurovision chocolate heart with confetti in it. Now, let's see from Tom from ESC United. Do we have any more details? I really want to know more about that Cyprus vocal. That is what I'm focused on right now. That is the big talking point here. What time is tonight's stream, says Charlie? It's 8:30 p.m. I'm so full of energy right now. I don't know why I've sort of got this like second wind. Now, time for the Tom response, and that word winner is there again. I was getting Salvador flashbacks. I was there for Salvador Sobral in 2017. I remember how it felt. If it feels like that again, then we're in for something very special. Very, very special indeed. Mercosoft says, what shows will you be in the arena? I'm going to be here because I'm going to be watching the live shows on TV because I have videos to make afterwards. Obviously, I'm not accredited. So if I can grab a ticket for something, I might go just so I can say I've gone. But to be honest, my focus is on these streams and on your experience. I want to sort of experience this with you guys. And that's my priority. The stream later, Worty, I'm going to be here in the same place. The difference is we are going to have press watching the broadcast feed. We only have press in the arena at the moment. Tonight, they see the broadcast feed. It's going to change everything. The odds are going to start running all over the place. We're going to see whose vocals is good and whose vocals aren't because people will probably be going all out. We will be seeing the full camera shots, everything. It's the full show tonight for the first time. Now, let's keep going. We'll give another refresh, see if that Cyprus news is coming. And, well, Vibe stands and Zierm stands. We stay winning. We stay winning. We have remained winning. We have continued to be winning. We have continued to be winning. That's what I want to see. This makes me happy. This is nice. This is good. This is wonderful. Bet the farm. I'm going to be keeping a close eye on the odds, and I'm going to get them up now. I don't know if they will have shifted yet, but I imagine they will soon. Let's have a look at those semi-final one odds. At the moment, we have, you see the greens. Look for the greens. That's where it's shortening. Iceland shortening slightly, approaching that 40% chance mark. It looks like there is some slippage for San Marino out at 6-5 over here at the end. That's an exchange. Those odds there. You can see here which odds, when they're updated, 458, 448. So these are in a different time zone. These are in CET. Let's see where we go tonight. But there is clearly some movement already, and that is exciting. I'll keep an eye on this. We'll come back to it in 10 minutes. Maybe it'll settle as people post their, reviews. I really want to see just a quick another take on Cyprus before we move on. That's what I'm looking for. Doesn't look like we're gonna get it, unfortunately, but I think the vocal thing. Now, time for the poll. The poll that we promised, and then after that we're going to talk about chocolate. And then we're going to talk about interval acts, because the interval acts are still coming. Don't go anywhere. So, the poll, I'm going to ask the Twitch mods to provide us on Twitch. I'm going to say, which staging are you most excited to see based on this rehearsal? And I'm going to include Iceland, Switzerland, Belgium, and Albania. Because Theo Evans' vocal was a bit off, I'm not going to put him in this one, but I'm obviously really excited for that too. So, those are the four. I want to see your votes. Get them in now. Let's have a look. And while you guys are doing that, I am going to make a dramatic reveal of the Bachelor gift bag. So, I've been excited about this because I've had this chocolate heart sitting next to me the entire stream, and I have a feeling there's going to be a mess, so I've got a plate here just in case. I wanted to show you, firstly, look at these, adorable, it's actually so cute. Look at these little chocolate mice. Isn't that just the cutest thing ever? And by the way, if any of you are in Basel, you can go to Bachelor. It's just around the corner from the Euro Club, so it's in a really good location. These things are adorable, and the little different nuts on the head. We have a Swedish and Finnish embassy gift bag as well, which we can look at. I honestly, one of my favorite things is these gift bag openings, because you get all kinds of weird and wonderful things, right? But what we are going to be talking about today, and I have a few of these in the bag, this is the Eurovision Basel chocolate heart. Let's put this on the floor, open it up, and I'll put it here actually so you can see. Bachelor is the thing. There we go. I'll shuffle along. And shout out to Tanya from Bachelor, by the way, who has been really lovely to me today. And let me quickly open this up. I should, of course, say, as is the ethical thing to do, I did receive this bag for free. It's not like I wouldn't call it like a formal sponsorship arrangement as such, but I did receive this bag for free from the provider in question. It's important to declare that, because naturally that's going to influence my point of view, I'm sure. So, I'm going to untie this little thing. There we go. I am going to taste this, but first I want to break it open and have a little look at what's inside. So, that's what it looks like. Basel Chocovision. It's actually enormous. It's really heavy. I don't know if you can hear that. That's the confetti inside. And so I guess we will crack this open and see what happens. I really should have seen that coming. There is confetti everywhere. Right. Let me. I'm gonna. It's all right. I have a thing in the kitchen. I could get a thing later. But so what I want to show you. If you look inside, you can see there's a rainbow flag of confetti. It's everywhere. It is absolutely everywhere. Like it's on my shirt, and oh god, it's on my clothes, on my trousers, it's on the sofa. Luckily, there's a big like drape all over the sofa, so I can just literally sweep it all off onto a tissue or something. I guess it only makes sense to taste it now. It's all over me. All these little bits here. I'll do this. And obviously, because it's Swiss chocolate,
fire.
It's delicious. Thank you, Jadison, for the subscription, by the way. This bit still has some confetti on it, so I'm gonna... Yeah, it's like sprinkles. And you know what? After 3.5 hours of streaming, you really need a snack. Let me think for a second about what I'm gonna do about all of these sprinkles, because they are everywhere. Let me just say that again, by the way. So it's Bachelor, you can find them in Basel. I'll quickly show you on the map. For those of you who are here this week, I will, of course, do a giveaway for at least one of these, maybe two, because I have 4 of them. I will show you where in Basel you can find them. It's just around the corner from the... let's zoom out a little bit. There we go. All right, here we are. So, if you head on down, it's just near the Euro Club. So the Euro Club is here at Messe Basel. Just down the road, right by the tram stop, is Bachelor, and they do great croissants and coffee and stuff. Really nice place, great place for breakfast. And also, you may notice some artists have been doing stuff there as well. But yeah, we'll give away a couple of those later in the week. Thank you so much to Bachelor for their generosity and for letting me try one of those on stream. And as you can see, make a real fool of myself. Oh gosh, it's everywhere. Like, if I stand up, I'm going to get confetti everywhere. I don't know if you can see, like, literally, it's, like, on my trousers, like, it's on the thing. I really should have seen that coming. They did warn me that, like, it's entirely my fault. Luckily, there's hardly any of it on the floor, so I'll be able to fix that up without an issue. I actually, because the very kind Airbnb host actually lives upstairs, I might be like, could I borrow your vacuum cleaner briefly? And I'll... sweep it all off. I'm not going to eat the confetti off of the sofa. The confetti is delicious, though. It is like, you sort of hundreds and thousands kind of fare. Now, we are waiting for some Interact news. I will let you know when we have it. Allegedly, there is a Danish influence, which we will see shortly. Actually, I don't know who's covering into that. Wait, let me get my phone. There we are. I've got a message that says train wreck. I'm checking whether that's talking about the Theo Evan thing or the interval act. In the meantime, I'm going to try and... I need to sweep the confetti into a little pile. Okay, there you go. And I'm just going to try and tip myself over so I can tip the confetti all into a pile. There we go. Still all over my trousers. That was a little pornographic. Right, those are going to need a wash. Okay, and then, oh god, it's everywhere. Give me a second. Let me see if I can find something to clear this up with. Maybe like a tissue or something. I'll take one of those, maybe. I've got just the thing. A dustpan and brush. So let me just clean up some of this confetti. And then I'm going to show you, once I've swept this all up, just how much of it there is. Because there's loads. It really is. It's quite extraordinary. It's gone everywhere. At the same time, I kind of enjoyed it just for the pure joy factor of Eurovision week, doing these kinds of silly things. And like, this was, to be honest, what I had in mind, like doing the streams this week. I just wanted to be like, do like silly things and get across that kind of attitude that when you actually come to the contest in person, it can be such a wonderful, carefree experience. And the whole city gets into it. Like, everywhere in Basel, there's these posters saying, like, Eurovision friendly. Outside cafes, outside restaurants, outside bakeries and all sorts. Obviously, because we're in Switzerland, everything is really, really good. It's such a nice atmosphere. And I'm really, really enjoying it at the moment. Especially, after last year, which was obviously really tough. I was really looking forward to hopefully being able to breathe a little bit this year. There is all of the confetti that was on the sofa. There's a lot of it. Let me just go and deal with that. I believe I may need to... Yeah, there's some on the floor as well. This was the content that you came here for, I'm sure, which was me brushing up confetti off of a carpet. Wow. Dear, oh dear. And a few more bits over here. There we go. A little bit there. All right. Oh, no, there's more. Give me a moment. I've got to move the gift bag out of the way again. Next time, I think I will probably open it in a more responsible way and not in a way that causes an enormous confetti explosion, which is what I've managed to do. It really is. There's so much of it, and these things obviously get everywhere. I think I'll go over this later with a vacuum cleaner or something, just to make sure I've collected all of it. And there's loads of wires down here too, which isn't helping. Right, there we go. Get those bits. A little bit more. Yeah, confetti explosion wasn't on my bingo card for this week, but I hope someone has clipped it and posted it on Twitter or something, because I really want to see this clip again later. I'm sure you have done. You guys are never known to miss a beat with that kind of thing. All right, I think we're just about there. Just a few more bits on there. Okay, I'm going to put this in the bin. Or like in a box or something, and then we're going to talk about interval acts, because I'm sure there'll be some news by now. Oh, right then. There we go. Oof. I'll get some more chocolate while I'm at it. There we go. Well, thank you, Beshla. You are delicious and surprising. No, for real though, that is really good. There's like little bits of sort of chocolate and stuff on my trousers and all sorts now. Gosh, it really does get everywhere, doesn't it? Yep. Oh. Right, where were we? You guys are babysitting me. Now, I believe This is now the time where we will hear about interval acts, and I'm trying to get some feeds up for you. We are going to end the stream shortly after that, though, just because I need a break. It's 5:20 here. We've been going for 3 hours, 35 minutes. It's a lot. Let's just see if anyone is talking about interval acts at the moment. I can't see much news for now. We know that we have Denmark 2000 coming back. Let's see if I've heard any more. Hi, Jay. I heard he was here. Nope, not heard anything back for now. I think what we'll do is then we'll leave it till later, because we're going to be on for the entire show later tonight anyway, because we're going to be waiting around for the audience poll. This will be the place to see it. For now, I think it's time for a break. I'm going to go have a lie down, eat my dinner, probably clean some more confetti, and I really look forward to seeing you all again in a few hours. We will be on at 8:30, so that is in 3 hours and 8 minutes. So you have 3 hours, 8 minutes to get dinner, as do I. I think I quite do with a pizza or something. And then we will be watching this all together, and that's really exciting. Oh, the odds updated. Okay, fine. We're going to the odds quickly before we go. Refresh. So here is where the state of play is at the end of that rehearsal. And as you can see, it's very much, this is a flip waiting to happen. 50-47 now. This is close. The exchange, this is generally where the odds are headed. If you see this in this last column on BFX, that's the one that reacts first. So this is probably where we are properly at. And it is this 1-1 Clement that is going to take him into the top 10 chances. Now, for now, like I said, this is going to be it for the stream for now. That's the wrong one. For the stream for now, we'll be back later on. I love you all very much. As always, it's been a massive, massive pleasure. We will be streaming in exactly 3 hours and 7 minutes time. So get yourself a snack, get ready, and we will see you there. For now, take care. Good